All right.
Hey, so tell us about Augustine.
Yeah, so I had
Uh,
an awesome chat with him, man. A 2 hour video chat. Because I messaged him because I keep messaging Sam Toonpunk pretty much every day.
Mm-hmm.
I can't help it. Right? I'm always messaging him because I'm always talking to like other people who seem to want to get interested in Decentraland, and I'm like, oh man, this would be awesome if we can get him in Decentraland. I need to make sure if we can, the tech can hold up and all that kind of stuff. So I think he mentioned that I start speaking to Augustine as well now because he's also going to start connecting with the community, and apparently his job is to kind of spearhead the DAO implementation and also fix up the community engagement a little bit better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it sounds very promising, but obviously I wanted to speak to him to make sure it's more than what we've been having so far with Decentraland, because
Sure.
I think a lot of us agree it's not enough, right?
Right.
Yeah.
How new is this guy? Like he just got on board?
2 months.
2 months.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
but
he
his
was here at
LinkedIn's
launch.
pretty. He was here. Oh, was he here at launch?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is his, sorry, Will, you kind of froze there for me, so I don't want to repeat what you're saying, but what is his background? Like, do you have anything on him, like what he used to work on or anything like that? Augustine, that is?
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll share his LinkedIn with you guys. That's what I did. I
Okay.
just checked out his
Okay.
LinkedIn, and he has a lot of experience, man. He's I think he used to work with Decentraland before, but I think he does like community meetups and pretty big in Argentina. Like he holds some really really big meetups, and I think he's into tech as well. Can't really define his thing too much. Let me just show you his LinkedIn.
Yeah, I guess while we're on the subject of talking about the DAO and stuff, I think it'd be a good idea to kind of like hash out what everyone's thoughts of what how the DAO, what the purpose of it is, and how like we should utilize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. So
That's like an obscure concept that's like
It's true.
totally new. You know,
Yeah.
nobody's
That
really
could be
figured
done
it
well
out
if we had votes.
Yeah, what are my
Yeah.
thoughts supposed
You
to
know
be
what
on
I'm
it right now?
Yeah.
yet.
We had like 2 votes ever. I missed one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed all of them. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. I think what's been voted in before was just whitelisting people as hosts or server hosts and stuff, and a few little things.
Okay.
I don't think that's been opened up to the community yet.
No, didn't they also vote on the like how much mana was worth it? And I didn't understand that a little bit, but how much mana was worth a piece of land and all that?
I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
that was
yeah.
DAO, though. Was that DAO or was that still
No.
the Agora?
That was still
that was okay.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Agora, yeah.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
Which was simple, but it was we're kind of abandoning the whole DAO, the Agora thing, and I think
Mhm.
I don't know if it'll be the same kind of weight ratio with the DAO, or maybe they're going to implement the land weighting as well with the mana. Honestly, there's a lot of question marks about the DAO. I haven't heard anything since that blog post
Right.
that it's going to be that it exists, but in terms of implementation and usability,
So much stuff. Did you guys hear about streaming? Like they're talking about streaming is going to be available soon. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
know how to do that shit? Like
We actually have Oscar's actually like working on a meta right now, a jukebox meta that's going to be able to stream audio stuff.
When's the last time you slept?
I know,
Oscar?
right?
Good question.
He doesn't
I
sleep,
don't know.
dude. He's a machine.
He just feeds off of metas, I guess. That sustains his life force. I don't know. But we need more guys like him, you know what I mean? We just need more content.
Oh man, 100%. But obviously he's motivated because he's sees the income potential, which is what
That's
I
right.
think gives developers that extra push and motivation to focus on this stuff.
Yeah.
See, that's a real thing. Like the community needs to like talk about. It's like real talk, right? Like what motivates people to work, and like
Money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard some people say like maybe like our objectives seem a little shallow. I mean, we're kind of like focused on money, but I mean, if you're aware of any other incentive model that works to get people organized and producing, then
I know.
I'm all ears. It's
Same.
just kind of like it's the way it works, you know. So I don't know what you guys think about that.
Nah, man. Money is a form of sustainability. If you don't get money, then you don't sustain your activity, whether it be development, blogging, or whatever it is. You're not going to turn it from a hobby to like a full-time thing. So don't worry about what they say, man. That's just how it is.
There's not much altruism in the crypto space right now. There's not many people doing it out there just from the kindness of their hearts. Like you gotta do something back at some point. No.
But you see people innovating on the Ethereum space, like Rocket NFT, and people pushing the capabilities of what blockchain can do. And I think that all comes from just wanting to do it out of interest. And that sort of energy, hopefully, will start to come into Decentraland once there's more features, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely got to be something to, like, I think streaming audios are great for like big,
man.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, so many, like, ever since I started even just doing things on my own, I started running into so many little things I can't do. Oh, can't do that. Like just today,
that's true.
Like lights in Blender, and like just because I got a fancy light situation going on my scene in Blender doesn't mean it's going to translate to when I deploy to Decentraland. And so you got to learn that, and it's like little things like that it's just like specific. Like we could just open up a lot more. It was like
Yeah, for sure.
That's why I keep harping on the SDK and making sure that they're working on that and updating it for the flexibility, because we want to do so many things, but like Frankie's saying, you keep running into these roadblocks where it's like, hey, team, you got to like update this so we can use this function. And
yeah, like I spent a long time today just hooking up my shit though. Like it was so cool looking in Blender. Yeah. And I deployed it and it was just like beaming light. I was like, so I use the concept,
So I think what we'll do is I've got a few topics we can discuss. So one of them was going to be the limitations of the SDK and the builder. If you want to talk about the builder, I know Will hates the builder, but we can talk about it if we want. But basically the limitations in terms of creators, because I know you guys have been building. One of the topics, so we can get into that. Do you guys want to pull up any topics specifically as well? I'll tell you exactly which ones I have written down.
I wanted to touch on the DAO as well.
Yep.
So I wanted to kind of throw out some examples of, like, I think there's certain limitations in terms of the DAO where, like, for example, when we vote for the DAO, like, there's only a handful of things that we can actually vote on. So it's like team's attention, meaning like, hey, the team should be focused on updating the SDK because we need the creators are asking for all these things, right? So the community collectively votes on that. And so it's basically team's attention. And then the other thing I'm thinking is for the DAO is like they have 233 million mana. That's another vote that can be had. And like, for example, like from our perspective, we would go and vote for a no-loss sponsorship from the DAO. But these are the only two types of votes that can be had on the DAO so far, as far as I can tell. And I wanted to talk about, are there other types that we're not aware of that we should be thinking about too?
Yeah. Do you mean in the sense of how proposals are submitted to be voted on?
Not necessarily how, but like what types of things can actually be submitted. From my perspective, there's two types. The Decentraland's team's attention on something, like make the SDK better, or
so make them act on it.
Exactly. Make them act on it. Or the other option is I have a proposal to use some of the DAO funds. And
all right.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking those are the only two types of things that the community can vote on. I don't see any other type of,
what else is there that comes to your mind?
Well, that's what I'm saying is like those are the only two things.
Oh, yeah.
There's got to be more than that. It's just we haven't thought of them yet because we haven't engaged with the DAO yet. I think those new proposals will come naturally once we start figuring out how the governance actually works.
Yeah, I could definitely see like when we start voting on shit, then all of a sudden everybody's like, "Nah, wait a minute, we need to vote on this shit. This is my shit."
Yeah.
There's gonna be conflict, right?
For sure.
Disagreement. So I guess.
Oh, there's gonna be heaps, man. It's like building a whole government system from scratch.
That's right.
It's gonna be a big deal.
Just hearing Will talking about it right now, I'm like, oh my god, this is so deep. I'll stay in building. Thank you. I'm cool.
But me personally, that was the first thing that got me interested in this, like the whole like start of a new society, a new new way of like another level of things. Like it's not just although the financial aspect is massively important, and it is for us guys because we're like, I think we're landowners. As landowners, we have a responsibility to build this bloody thing now. They've given us a platform. We have the responsibility. We shouldn't be relying on anybody else. But at the same 100%. Time, yeah. So I mean, I think when you asked about what topics we'd like to bring up today, I like I want to talk about like cross metaverse. I know you guys touched on that on your recent like podcasts and stuff, like the whole entwining in crypto voxels and something in space and these sort of things. I think that's a massive thing, and also that I think that massively ties into onboarding and the way you go about that. And I think as horrible as it sounds, and I don't give a fuck. It's Saturday night. I've had a few rums. I don't care. I'm going to say it. The coronavirus gives like an opportunity here. Like, I mean, you've seen so many. You see so many people join up on Zoom.
Open my eyes to it, though. At least, you know what I mean. Like having this thing hit and having everybody inside, and then you start opening like it's almost like important to build Decentraland. You know.
100%. I agree with you, Chris. Those topics.
What happens if it pops up in the fall and everybody's stuck in the house in the fall again? You know?
Yeah, I think that's why the team is so focused right now on things like in-game chat and audio streaming and video streaming, because that's needed in order to have kind of like virtual conference.
Be done. And I noticed something the other day. I'm like, I wouldn't mind to be able to talk to Maddie out there and just Maddie out there and not people like, what's up, Maddie? Everybody's like, you know, it's not. I'm just like, hey, everybody. You know, it was so early in the days, but it's just gonna be one day you're gonna want to just talk to one person. You know.
Yeah.
Do you mean private chat within DCL?
Decentraland,
yeah. Well, I think they're working on that. So private chat, they're also working on audio streaming, as you guys know, and I think as well they're also working on video streaming, which video streaming. I don't know what that's gonna look like, but that's gonna be pretty sick.
Because that's gonna be big for advertising and all kinds of shit. Like, because if you can do all kinds of shit with that. You know, that'd be great.
Yeah. And also GIFs or MP4 videos for art, which I think is a big deal.
That's big for exactly, for doing all that kind of thing. Yeah. The video is going to be big though, because if think about this, like sometimes I just, you know, I got my couple songs that play in my spot, and I'll leave it there, and I'm like looking around or I'm doing something on the internet. Or the other day I went and watched Rosa DJ, right? Yeah. I sat there with the thing playing, and I'm flipping through the internet. If you could have a video playing, you could go, you know, it'd be the same idea, and then you could go right over here and do something else that was also some sort of useful, you know? Putting those use cases. I was telling Will, like, it's like we're looking for like this, like the pipes, you know, like what is the pipes in Decentraland? Like what is the foundation of the whole situation? And it's not actually going to be normal things you would have in something that's going to come up later, and we're going to be like, yeah, that's what it is, you know. The most important thing, you know.
Yeah, just to go off Rio's point, and then kind of the whole like, what do we want to talk about stuff? It's just kind of like, what companies could we go after now? Like, we see CoinFest, and now we're kind of seeing like CoinDesk come over and show some interest. Like, what companies could we go after that hold these meetings, and also like, how do we go about it? Really, I guess is the bigger part of it, because there's going to be interest out there now.
Just go about it whenever we feel like.
Yeah, I just mean like how like you got to know like we're acting independently of like actual Decentraland team. So like how basically where's our limits with like how far we're allowed to push their brand, because if they don't feel like it's ready for it, because there's definitely some stuff where these companies are going to drop in and attendants are going to drop in and be like, well, what the hell? I can't even talk to people. Like, so kind of like, what's our boundaries with like, how far do we push this on some of these companies? Because these companies are going to want to use it, but going back to the whole marketing debate of Decentraland and the lack of marketing and stuff, like, is it the best time to be pushing it? Because the team might have something planned for like a month down the line, where if we just hold off on stuff, it might be a much better product in a month than right now. So I think for us, like this is a great initiative and everything like that, but also we have to know like kind of where to stop and like where our boundaries lie with everything. Like we need just a little bit better communication, because we're not really part of the team.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I'm totally with you on that. I couldn't agree more, to be honest with you. Like, I think the way your train of thought is exactly the same as mine.
Yeah,
like, that is exactly where I'm going with this. Like, what are we don't want to be standing on anybody's toes, nor do we want to be reinventing the wheel if they're already inventing it. So and also I sort of like, this sort of leads into what will be like Decentraland's, like the core team responsibilities once the development is in their eyes done, once it's ready to go and we can like literally leave with it, where will their responsibilities lie? I think all this sort of entwines into one subject, which I guess we don't have the answers to unless we've got people on board who know the answers.
I think right now we're looking at a very, very basic product with Decentraland. And if you look at the timing, it's only been, I think, a month and a week or something since launch.
I know.
It hasn't actually been that much, man.
Yeah,
I know.
For me, it seems so much longer because I'm like, shit, like they should be implementing all these features ASAP. Like, what's going on? It's been like 3-4 months, but it's only been a month and a week. And talking to Augustine, it seems like there's so much in the pipeline in the near future.
Exactly.
Audio and video streaming is literally just the beginning of what they're going to release. All the stuff we've been talking about, a lot of it is going to come up really soon, hopefully in the next couple of months max. So I think with CoinDesk, I had a chat with June who wanted to see what we can facilitate for them. Basically, they want to bring on, do a virtual tour of Decentraland for half an hour. And I said, yeah, that's cool. I'll take them to 4 or 5 mostly static scenes, not too computer heavy. But I told him straight up, I'm like, right now, if you were to get couple of hundred people within Decentraland, I think you're going to have issues. But I'm going to talk to the tech team, and I think in a month we're going to have a much better product. And he said, there's no problem having a bit of lag. That's fine, as long as it doesn't freeze up completely. And I said, look, we've had events with 50 to 100 people, and it's worked pretty well. And I think CoinFest recently had like 91 people join into.
Yeah, Sugar Club got a lot of people out there.
Yeah,
Sugar Club got a lot of people.
Yeah, he's rocking.
Yeah, I talked to Twos today quite a bit this morning about the turnout and everything like that. Yeah. And he said that he had, and it's set at 100 mana donations. He said that he got 3,200 mana and
that is awesome, man.
And Ethereum. He said he got more Ethereum donated too. So I mean, that was, I know, that's what I told him, because especially with his negative sentiment the last like couple weeks, because he's in the same boat too. And I said the same thing on Litecoin Moses when I was talking about like how thing turned out, and then I was like, I need to stop being a crybaby. It's been like a month. Like it hasn't even been any time at all. So I was happy to hear that from Twos, and just to see the big turnout, because for CoinFest I noticed a lot where we were just getting like the same people over and over, and then yesterday and today at the conference center, tons of new people, and it was awesome.
I think that's got to do with also Decentraland themselves retweeting that event. I think they
help a lot.
The Sugar Club event, and I think Sam said that he's gonna start running the Twitter as well, and also Augustine. So Augustine's been checking out the Twitters of other people and seeing how they're running it, and I think he's taking that on board. He's doing a lot of research, which I'm like, man, awesome. I'm happy someone's listening and looking at this stuff. And if they can start tweeting out the events that we're holding, they have a huge follower base. Everyone listens to them that we need. Like, we don't need to be growing our follower base. If they can tweet out our events, Decentraland will grow. That's just as easy as it is.
Totally agree.
So I think it's about like getting them to tweet out regularly, or like what sort of format, and get some sort of a process going. But anyway, guys, before we start,
I have a question.
Tangenting to
one question. Sorry, I wonder what's their criteria in terms of like retweeting like events. Like I wonder if they have any limitations to tweeting specific things versus other things. Like, what is it? What's the criteria? Like that's one thing that needs to be transparent.
I think the Twitter, it seems to be the Twitter's been ignored a little bit over the last month. It's only the last week I've seen some more retweeting. So I think I don't know if the launch kind of put them all a little bit displaced into putting all the focus on the launch and kind of ignoring the other factors. But whatever it is, I think it seems like they're just retweeting what they see cool on Decentraland that the community is doing, whether it be little videos or events happening. But we can have a discussion with the team about the use of Twitter and events. I also know, I think there is also an event, a more official event web
calendar
site coming in from them. Yeah, a more better looking calendar.
Okay.
So be like every time we submit an event, it would make sense for them to retweet it.
That was supposed to happen like 2-3 weeks ago, that calendar.
I was just thinking, an idea is to kind of organize a scheduled events. Let's say like I throw something, you throw something, you're joining a little while, you know, a week later or whatever it is. You know what I mean? So there's like some sort of like coordination. So there's not like, oh, the only thing that happens is once in a while Two-Side throws a party, you know?
Yeah. And stuff that's related, so you can build off one another too and keep like some sort of momentum going. And not have like that whole art gallery stuff is cool. But I know like Rio, you said you were looking at some art gallery stuff, and now it's like you almost look like copycats if you do it again, even if you had something in the works. And it's almost coordinate one, like, which is what I try to do with the MetaZone piece. So we're not doing separate stuff. Let's just all get together and do something. Maybe you take a third of the artist this week, and then the next third of the artist is on display next week and the week, or like stuff like that. Like that's what this stuff is good for. Everyone getting together on everything.
Yeah. And all of us have been pretty good about retweeting each other's events for the most part, I think. We should probably come up with a way to have like a single location where we're like tweeting our social media links, and then, or we have a single location for social media links, and then we just go, you know, whenever we have time, go on there and just like retweet stuff of each other's like, you know, events.
I think a lot of us do that already though.
Yeah, we kind of do that, but it's sort of ad hoc. It's like we all go to each other's Discord, we find stuff to like tweet, and then like
right. So you're saying submit content for retweeting?
Yes, exactly.
Basically.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a good idea. Maybe you should do it in Block Runner, man. Like you guys make the channels. That seems to be where all the people hang out.
There's just links.
Say that again, Frankie.
Just make a channel that's just links in the Discord.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we can do that for sure.
Hopefully you don't just say no spam, or specify what you want.
Yeah, we can do that. All right. That's cool.
All right, cool. So I've got I've written down the topics that everyone wants to discuss. There's like 6 or 7 of them. I think it's better if we just choose one and we kind of break it apart a little bit and kind of go in that structure, so that if the team sees this, they can kind of know what we're talking about in that area and kind of jump around where they want to see. Is that cool? Or does anyone want to add any other topics?
What do you have? What are your topics again?
So I've got let's talk about the DAO, the implementation, and like what the submission process is at the moment, or what we think it should be. Kind of discuss that. Wearables, I want to see like what our thoughts are on whitelisting wearables.
Yep.
So I think a topic that a lot of people talk about. What limitations of the SDK and Builder you guys are facing at the moment, what you want to see in there. What types of companies we can go after, and what our thoughts are on onboarding them and what the process is. I think Anurag brought that up. Cross-metaverse interoperability and onboarding, that was by Rio. Basically talking about how we can work together with different metaverses, which I also think is a big deal. What else do I have? Games, like what types of games we want to see or work on, or any other features that you guys think are holding us back. I guess that's the same as the SDK. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
No, I think that's good. Let's commit to only like having these like gatherings for about 90 minutes, just so that it's not going off like 3 hours long. So yeah, let's just start at the beginning. So I think we've covered most of it on the DAO, right? Is there any other like items that we need to discuss on the DAO?
I guess there's not much to discuss because there's not much to. It's not.
There's not a lot of substance there.
But in the sense of how do you guys think it should work? I think submit proposals. Proposals get voted on. General gist of thing.
I think it should be as bare bones as possible. What I mean is like the submission is or the query is, if you want the DAO to consider something, submit a proposal, and it's just a blank page. And then it's up to those who care about such proposal to make it as interesting for the community as best they can, and that's about it. And then as time continues, people will start seeing like what gets voted in and what doesn't based on the amount of work that was put in the proposal itself, and just focus on like have the community really govern themselves in the sense of like what the actual proposal has within it.
Yeah.
So that's one aspect. I think I think we really got to hone down like exactly what the DAO is for. And I've mentioned like 2 types of votes, And of course, there's a whole lot of nuances within those two types. But if we can just outline other possible scenarios that I haven't really thought of, I mean, that would be a start, I guess.
But those two scenarios, I think, are like the umbrella for everything else. So basically, DCL is going to implement anything that we come up with, right? Like any SDK additions at the moment seems like they are the only ones that
that's true
can implement that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other question is like, is their SDK going to be open source where anybody can contribute, like in their Git repository? Is like how open is this?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
if
that
you
would
can just
be.
add your piece of code,
yeah,
and then that gets voted in.
That's right.
Yeah. Look,
also,
it's
we talked about this before about the SDK, but I was just like, me and DSM was talking one night, and it was like, are we gonna have some sort of directory where we can look code up?
All right. I think right.
Everybody's kind of you can look at like the stuff in the doc, but everybody's doing their own research and separately getting their own little ideas. And wouldn't it just be easier if we just had that stuff at hand? So you just search it like, all right, cool, I'm looking for this. Oh, somebody already made that. Yes,
Right.
Yeah.
Not in.
Yeah, I'm just like replying to somebody here. Yeah, I think another thing that they can do is maybe build some kind of interface where it's sort of like everybody goes to the single link to see, hey, here are the things that people are voting on right now, and then here are the next upcoming items for vote, and it's just like a dashboard of like information of potential votes that are going to be happening at a particular time.
Yeah, this should be definitely a central place that we talk about all that stuff. Just like.
Doesn't something like
because then everybody's gonna have a topic,
Doesn't something like that already exist? It's in there during their DAO launch announcement. They said that they launched it's like an affiliate application or something like that hosts all these governance votes and stuff like. I'm not sure what it's called, but
yeah, that's another thing. Is like we gotta be able to see like where everything's at. Like right now, it's sort of like a search functionality.
Have you guys explored the DAO? What's it on now? I forgot the name of the thing. Aragon. Aragon, whatever it is.
I think that's what it is. That's what I'm talking about.
No, that's the old version though. I don't think they're using
that. No.
The old one is
Agora.
Oh, Agora. That's what it was. Yeah.
Aragon. So I've taken a look at it. I think it's called Aragon. Anyway,
it is.
And there's like little boxes that show you what the proposals are, and I think you should be able to click into it and read into it a bit more. Shows you the voting and what kind of mechanism is going to approve this, take it to the next step. I think there is some sort of a dashboard for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I see it. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
Aragon.org.
Yeah.
There's also like a committee of like 5 people, I think. They're kind of like, I don't know, I guess they're elected by the DAO itself to kind of, to me, it almost seems like it seems like they have like the final vote of whether or not things get pushed or not. Almost like an electoral system, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think they get to decide what proposals get voted on by the public, which is a big responsibility.
Yeah. So again, these people, I guess, were initially assigned from the Decentraland team. So yeah, so currently, right now, the Decentraland team is pretty much the central, source of all development, is what it seems like. Whenever I first heard of the DAO, I assumed like they would be in the same boat as the rest of us, meaning like they don't have the same authority that they had pre-launch. But it doesn't seem to be that way. Right now, they're still in complete control of everything. I don't think any of the SDK updates they're implementing are being voted on. It's just kind of like on the roadmap. It just keeps progressing as it did before the launch. So this is kind of like the things I'm talking about as far as like how a DAO is like supposed to function. The team created this whole platform, so how much responsibility do they have as far as continually developing it in contrast to the rest of the community? You know what I mean?
So that brings up a question.
Do you want the community to be able to vote on it right now? Do you trust that in the hands of this community right now?
It's not an issue of whether or not I want it to happen. It's just the principle of whether or not
I understand.
Actually, like,
I'm just playing devil's advocate.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah.
I'm glad you are playing. That's a good point. You know, if the community did say like we want to do something to the SDK that isn't on the roadmap, then who's in charge of actually implementing this? How do we assign the actual development process?
Well, that's what that 5 people that you mentioned, I think that's what their responsibility is, to actually implement the work on the contracts.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not a tech guy, but I read that somewhere. That's why they are there to kind of security wise. But like you said, it also kind of makes it look like a little bit more centralized in the sense that it has to go through them first to come to us.
Yeah, we all know, like, in the beginnings, that's how it's going to be, centralized.
Yep.
Everything is at the start, but...
That's just how it is, I think, but look, implementing the DAO is a step in the right direction. Hopefully the initial iterations of it is going to be something workable. And then from there, it's only going to get better. If the community wants things to change, it's stupid from them to keep it that way when it's supposed to be about decentralization, right? So,
Did you guys talk about like wrapped mana at all, or like anything like that going into the votes? I know it kind of disappeared for a minute. I don't want to talk about it again, but like, what do you think about that with like the voting stuff? Like, should you have to have stuff reserved for like a certain amount of time, or should you be able to like just buy stuff 2 hours before the vote and go in and sway it?
That's a good point. Almost like a staking, like people who stake their tokens longer have more weight. Is what you're saying? Then
not even that. Just that you have to. So to avoid like people coming in at the last second and affecting the vote, basically like the amount of mana would have to already be accounted for like 2 weeks before the vote. So by this time you have to stake your mana, you have to wrap it or whatever, and you have to allocate it for the vote, so that if a vote goes on for like 10 hours, let's say is the length of the vote, someone can't come in at hour 9 and 30 minutes and buy like 1 million mana and sway the vote. Like, so I think that's going to be an issue with stuff, is that we have to have something in place where we prevent that from happening, because we need to make sure that everyone's on the same page headed into it. Like, we need to make sure that people are committed headed into it, where 2 weeks out, I mean, a lot can change in 2 weeks with some stuff, or you might have some people swing in on like some low ether prices or something like that. So I would like to see something in place where you have to stake your vote ahead of time, so we're not being constantly caught off guard, and we know going into the vote where, all right, there's 3 million mana that's going to be used in this vote. And I think that'll be a lot more transparent and easier to track for community members and people that are actually invested into this.
I think that is what they're going to do, right?
Yeah, I think so too. But like we were saying, like, we haven't really seen much since that initial post. So
no, I've talked to them quite a lot, and I think they're going to be doing the whole wrapping mana thing. So you should be able to know what the total pool of mana is going into the vote. So we know that we're not dealing with freaking 300 million mana worth of, some whale's going to swing this, or we're going to know that or not. But so we're going to know that you can wrap the mana, but I think you can also, once you vote, say the vote's for 10 days, you vote with your wrapped mana, I think you can take it out after. So it's not locked in there for the whole 10 days.
Like the first land auction.
Yeah, I think that's how it went. I wasn't part of it. So yeah, once you vote, I think you can take it back out. It's just that you can't put more back in to make that pool bigger. I think that's how it's going to go.
Yeah, because that was a big issue with the second land auction. Is, if you remember, the Decentraland team came in and bought like a ton of parcels all in one swoop, and the way it was set up, it was a Dutch auction. So the price dropped, and then the price would just drop until someone would buy the parcel. It wasn't like a bidding war. And so what happened was the team came in and bought all those parcels, and then everyone FOMO'd in. And then like a day later, they announced that they had bought all those parcels. And no one really knew that it was the team doing it until after it was already announced, like a day later or whatever. But it made everyone FOMO in at the last second. And it's like, it would have been nice if we knew going in that the team was going to spend X amount of mana. You know what I mean?
Kind of.
Why do you think they did that in the first place? Just to kind of.
Well, they did it. They did it for like to hand out land for prizes.
It's a smart move. It's a smart business move.
Yeah, they're allowed to buy land as much as anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It just would have been nice to know, like going into the auction or whatever, like that they plan to do it, because everyone then started FOMOing in and buying land at prices that might have been higher than they would have initially, because the team bought up all that land. But no, they have as much right as anyone else. But they did it to hand out land for prizes for like creator contests and stuff like that, which, I mean, more power to them. I have no problem with it. It would just be nice to now go in and do it.
Yeah.
Like that people were going to spend X amount of mana. I don't know.
Oh, it makes sense. But I think announcing it just before they would have bought would have not been a smart move.
For them, it wouldn't
for
have.
them, and just generally, I mean, like they're part of the community as well. But I guess saying it before the auction starts that, they will be also participating to add to the prize pool would have made sense. Anyway, that kind of, they are using that pool, which is good. I mean, every time they have contests, that land is going to people, which is great. They're not just hoarding onto it and selling it to people.
All right, anyway, I think that covers a lot of the DAO. Let's keep going on the next subject.
So builder versus SDK. We can start with the SDK and talk about the builder. Let me just say a couple of words on the builder. I think someone mentioned that there's going to be a lot more smart items, so the tipping is going to be added. And I also think, Will, you mentioned no loss
sponsorship.
I think that also might be added.
Okay, good.
As a builder item.
So that's kind of weird
that they're looking into it.
So we'll have to talk about what that means exactly, because a no loss sponsorship actually requires a lot of money in order for it to be functional, because no loss means that we're inherently using the DeFi ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so if they're planning on doing a no loss sponsorship using builder items, it seems very unlikely that people have, hundreds of thousands of dollars to stake for any reasonable amount of interest. Does that make sense?
It does, but I think what they're alluding to is that there's going to be some sort of way to engage with that interface within Decentraland.
Oh, hell yeah.
Using the builder.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It was on the topic of the builder that I was talking to Augustine that this came up. I'm not sure if he was talking in the sense that they're looking at it outside of the builder, or if it's going to be added as an interactive.
Yeah, dude, imagine if the entire DAO fund was already being staked and it was generating interest money, 233 million, man. That's like $7 million bucks. Imagine that's being staked into a DeFi contract.
Does that put that at risk, though? Does that put that stake at risk of any?
It's only at risk if the smart contracts are hackable. And so the DeFi, using specifically compound finance, those smart contracts have been audited up to ass. And so they're reasonably safe, right? They're not like impenetrable, but they're reasonably safe. And then on top of that, you can get insurance on your staked DAI. And so if you can get insurance, then your mana, or in this case DAI, is reasonably safe. And so now that it's generating interest, that interest can be used to fund community projects, right? And we're talking about several $1,000 per month easily.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a smart idea. I mean, they should be doing that.
Yeah, to us, it's kind of like a no-brainer use case for this DAO fund that right now nobody really knows what to do with. For many reasons. There's that marketing element that now we're integrating DeFi into our ecosystem, which the DeFi community is powerful as far as like the whole crypto space.
Absolutely.
Well, that's why when he mentioned DeFi and so Augustine understands the importance of onboarding these communities, whether it be DeFi or whatever these communities are. When you integrate their technology, then they're all like, whoa, like Decentraland's going all DeFi, all that kind of stuff. He was really big on understanding onboarding community and how to kind of tackle that. That's why I was happy he dedicated 2-hour conversation with me. That was like a huge thing.
Hell yeah. I mean, that's exactly what should be happening. I mean, it's...
Yeah, man. Also, whether it be with...
Yeah, the reason to generate these interest funds is because we've seen a couple like case studies of what attracts player base or user base to Decentraland. One was the chess event at launch. You know, we saw the user numbers spike because there was all of a sudden there was some kind of financial incentive for people to come and explore Decentraland. Once you took once you pulled the rug out of that concept, you know, the numbers dropped off. Kind of like everyone expected that to happen, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And then the other stuff is the tournaments like Anorak was hosting. I mean, those have been extremely successful. They're comparative to the chess events.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
So we're thinking, you know, there's potential there to re-inject this this incentive that we've already seen has proven itself to be, you know, successful.
Yeah, the worst thing that happens with using all those funds into a DeFi contract would be that we have a DAU that's really high. People are just coming back to just earn their $15 per day, right? And that's the worst that can happen. And it doesn't cost anybody anything. It's just the interest rate gained from the money, and that's it.
Yeah, so that's something the community needs to kind of like. If we propose something like that, the community could think about it. They could digest that proposal. Maybe everybody hates it. I don't know. But that's kind of the point. Like we need some
staking
type of
the DAO funds.
You're talking about staking the DAO fund. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, Decentraland are smart people. I'm assuming they would have looked into that. The fact that this is on their radar speaks to me. That shows that they, you know, they would be thinking about that. But again, they're going to watch this video. So
yeah.
See, but that's the thing. We shouldn't have to rely on the Decentraland people for this type of proposal. This is a community.
True.
This is a community initiative. You know, if this is really a true DAO, it's up to people like us to, you know.
That is exactly what I was just going to say. Like, this is truly a community issue. I think this is something that the community needs to sort out between themselves, and organize it in a real cool way, in our own way, and let that fly. And I'm sure we can do a great job with it as well.
I agree.
I agree too, man.
Get enough engagement from the community. I don't know how we're going to gauge whether or not we've gotten enough engagement, but I mean, we got to start somewhere. I feel like.
I think there's a lot of us that are interested in how Decentraland. Like, there's not enough people that are interested in the destruction of Decentraland. The people that have mana, like I've talked to a lot of the Chinese investors that have a ton of mana, they all want Decentraland to grow. So I think, like, these topics, they will go in the right direction if they give it to the community.
Yeah, so I guess we just gotta wait and see how the DAO proposals start, and then I guess MetaZone, that's gonna be one of our first proposals to see what the community says.
Yeah,
you know, it seems to be the only one on our mind right now. We're constantly, you know, discussing it back and forth whether or not this is viable. But
yeah, I mean,
all we could do is propose it. You know.
Yeah, and we can't just always depend on like DCL resources too. Like the other aspect is finding our own sponsors and finding that group of people to stake some funds in a smart contract, you know, with DAI, and it's another no loss sponsorship that has nothing to do with DCL. So I mean, that's our own activity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Decentraland have a lot of brand power, so a lot of people would be very happy to sponsor events. I don't think it'll be difficult to get them on board as long as the platform's more stable and we can ensure that we're getting 15 to 20 to 30 people on, which we are already. But I think that on a more consistent basis and shared on Twitter will show that, you know, there is a lot to be made and there's a lot of benefit in sponsoring. So
yeah, for sure.
I haven't had any issues getting anyone on.
Yeah,
everyone likes getting in. Like, obviously, you got to find that right target market. But I mean, if you do, like, I think it's pretty cool. Like, obviously it's through CoinFest, but you got like GeoCoin and Orbiter 8 and blockchain gaming and awesome, CoinFest and all that stuff, like on the ad boards. Like, that's pretty cool. Like, and same with the first time around, all the Axie guys got on real quick, because they just want to grow their project too. And if you find like the right people to get on board, they're going to be all for it. Especially if you have something like that game on your land where you can you're already promising to bring people to it. So if you have an ad board there, people are going to hop on no matter what, as soon as they find out that there's something going on with the land.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. You can't have a parcel with just an ad board. Like it's
going
to be so much more difficult.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, there definitely are some communities and companies that are completely the same user base that we want. Like Axie is a really good one, and it's not like either they play Axie or either they check out Decentraland. They kind of integrate together, right? You have Engine as well. Like Engine's massive, and it's a whole world that I actually didn't even know of until just recently. And I'm like, holy shit! There's like 15 awesome games being developed. There's like all this really cool stuff going on. They have their own marketplace that has decent volume. It was like this whole new thing. So that's why I connected a little bit more with the Engine guys. And I can easily get some developers on board in the sense of advertising and sponsoring. But it's an easy, I'm sure there's other communities that are very easy to kind of target.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, my cat keeps jumping on.
So we were talking about SDK versus builder, right? So obviously we have strong feelings about the comparison, I guess, because we only deal with the SDK.
So one of the things I was talking to Iman with was the builder. It's powerful if you design an entire infrastructure around the builder, kind of like Sandbox did, kind of like Roblox did. Like their premise is user-generated content that requires no coding whatsoever. That's their platform. It's not the same for Decentraland, right? It's not the same. If Decentraland was only builder stuff, then yeah, it would make sense. But it's not. It's to me, in my opinion, I think focusing on the SDK, bringing in real developers to build custom stuff. You want to enter into a world where you can't even predict what you're going to see, right? With the builder, you can predict pretty much everything. Like but of course, that's my opinion. And I mean, I'm not a developer, so I'm not speaking for anybody here. I'm just saying that's the world I want to be in.
I agree too, man. Going into every scene and it's different, interactive in ways that is not anything like the scene around it is great. The only issue is when Decentraland held their SDK competition, I kind of felt they overshot a little bit in the sense that they had this massive prize pool. They were assuming a lot of people were going to get involved, but there actually wasn't that many developers that got involved relative to the prize pool.
But think about this.
I had the same issue.
But think about this. No, just 1 second. Maddie, so if you compare the SDK competition with the builder competition, SDK had like 50 submissions. The builder competition had like 1,000. Out of the 1,000 submissions, which one have you gone to again to visit?
You are right, the SDK ones,
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying is like, it doesn't matter like how many submissions you got. It's about replayability. It's about wanting to come back and enjoy that experience again. That's where it's about. If you get 10 submissions, where those 10 submissions have recurring players on a daily basis, that's better than 1,000 submissions where nobody comes back.
I think they do different things. I think we mentioned this before, like in terms of how much of the community got onboarded during the 1,000 submissions. I saw so many people come on board into Discord.
No, absolutely.
Artists.
That's a good
artists
point.
Of all kinds, like so many different people. And you're right. There is no replayability, but they did different things for the community.
For sure. Now, if you want to take a look at it from that angle, then yeah, you're absolutely right. That's how you onboard people.
Like for me, the fact that my 11-year-old sister-in-law took out a laptop, spent 4 hours dragging and dropping things to submit something was like a big deal. I was like, holy crap, this girl just plays with makeup most of her day. She's not into this stuff at all. And I was like, whoa, this is a market I would never have thought would have done anything with the thing. And these people are not even going to touch the SDK, let alone me.
For sure.
I own a lot of land, and the SDK is something I can't really. I should learn it, but I won't learn it probably.
So here's my stance, and I'll leave it at that. There's a huge development community. It's huge. It's gigantic. There's a huge developer community. They're not in Decentraland simply because first they don't know it exists, and second they don't know that you can make money from it. So once you solve those two things, you're gonna see a world that we couldn't even predict that we're gonna see. So that's like why I'm advocating for the SDK.
That makes sense.
Frankie, what are your thoughts on all this? You're someone who's just recently been kind of dipping your toes into the SDK and everything.
So is Rio, I think, as well.
Yeah, my bad. I'm literally like messing with Blender and deploying a scene. And stuff.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm curious to know what you think about all this stuff.
I mean, as far as the builder, if they made it like a game, you know, that somebody could, you know, want to build with or something like that, you know, then cool, you know. But I think really it's better with the SDK. Like it's better to people to learn how to use it, value the land better. You know what I'm saying? That's the other thing too, is that I'm only looking into the SDK and all this stuff because I paid a lot of money for land, and now I'm like, well, I'm here, you know, so I might as well learn this shit too, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I think that you can do cooler shit with the SDK, and then like Will was talking about, you know, if you can figure out a way to make money, you know what I mean, to actually make a business, you know what I mean. I mean, so that's been my whole goal since step one. Has been always about like trying to figure out a way to make businesses, or you know, basically businesses work within Decentraland. You know, what would be the thing? Like, what's the thing that somebody, the use case that somebody would actually use Decentraland for? Otherwise, you know, like outside of just because they're into crypto, just because they want to check it out. Like, nah, I'm going there because this thing is happening.
Yeah. And so for someone like you who just recently published their first build on MetaZone and everything like that, how long did it take you to feel comfortable with the SDK? Like, how much experience did you have coming in, and then how long did it take you to feel comfortable building something?
No experience, but I did have experience with all kinds of other programs, and you know, you just kind of jump into these things. 3 to 4 months, but I was I'm going hard. Like I'm working on this much harder than most people would be. So, you know, and I'm doing both at the same time. I'm doing the builder, I'm doing Blender and trying to learn the code. But coding is, I keep like putting that on the back burner.
Yeah, and pineapple glasses. I mean, get those in there
there's
too.
that stuff. There's that stuff. The Wearables stuff is, you know, a whole nother stuff.
Oh yeah. No, that's cool. I think you're a big resource in this community right now for to prove that someone with little to no experience going into it, if you just have the mental capacity and the discipline to just not mess around with your time, and right now everyone has time to just put your nose to the grindstone and really figure some stuff out. I think your inspiration, and I think Exit Blue, the person who just put on the artwork stuff, who only did it with the builder, I think you two are big inspirations to people in the community who out there are doubting themselves that they can contribute anything to their land. And you guys are both examples that you can do something with your land, even if you have little to no experience with builder stuff going into it.
Yeah, I think Rio as well. Rio as well made those ad boards from scratch.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Which I'm not sure if he's listening, but
those are the best right
sorry,
now.
I'm listening. I'm really I'm really struggling to get a clear connection. So you're sort of breaking up. I'm sort of there, and it comes in, and like I get a good solid minute of hearing everything clear, and then it just breaks up. So bear with me if you've already discussed or if I've missed anything. Yeah.
I was just saying that you know, I think you as well learned the SDK from scratch, and your ad boards that you put up were actually pretty cool. So I think Will asked the question, how long did it take Frankie? Like, how long did it take you to learn?
Yeah.
Because that was really impressive. I actually tried to do that, but I couldn't.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, part of the reason why I got into Decentraland was to learn a new skill, and like, apart from the society and the sort of economical factors and things like that, which massively interest me, I also wanted to learn new skills here, and I think with the help of Carl Farvel and many others in the community, like they've literally at certain points held my hand. Big up to the Lustrum. And you know, I'm not going to start naming names because so many people have helped me here. But one thing I will say is that Carl Farvel's course, which he did, he literally broke it down a little. If you've never used any of these programs, he takes you through. You can watch a video. It takes a while. You just keep clicking through, pausing, working through, and hustling through it, and eventually you get to a point where you can do these things. Like, I'm not using a CLI. Like, I didn't even know what a CLI meant like a few months ago. And now, like, I'm like deploying Decentraland, all this, that, and the other, and my girlfriend comes in, she says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm just coding. Don't worry about it. You know, it's fine."
You're
She's like, so impressed. It's real cool. I'm not really. I'm just following instructions. But either way, you know, like I'm sort of getting somewhere. I feel like I'm like self-development. You know,
you're doing great, man. You're doing good. Awesome. Yeah, I think people have different solutions to getting content, interactive content. The SDK, no doubt, is a big one. MetaZone should not be underrated, and it's a sick resource, man. If you start to get people creating just for the pure fact that they can sell products on MetaZone, suddenly landowners have a lot of stuff to deploy. I think we're also going to see. So Sketchfab was, you guys know Sketchfab, right?
Yep.
They've got animated scenes, they've got stationary scenes, they've got some pretty cool stuff. I think there was a Twitter thread where they also said that they were in discussions with Decentraland. So having them somewhat integrated with the Decentraland builder, where we can just drag and drop moving scenes, add smart items as well, which might be like tip jars and hopefully a lot more, might make this a whole different experience from what we're seeing the builder can do at the moment. I think it's going to get like 10 times more interactive.
Like that, Maddie, that you can literally like put something that will do a transaction would be huge for just a regular person that wants to invest in it. You know what I mean? And then they're like, whatever they can put a builder scene and put a tip jar, or maybe something even a little bit more advanced than that. You know what I'm saying? They can do a transaction, you know?
Yeah, transaction would be awesome. Like they can purchase straight from Decentraland. Like if we can get people, like next level would be awesome to get people buying the art on my gallery, for example. Also say they can give me a commission. So every art I sell, I get 10% of the cut, whether it be art or another item or a game. But there should be an affiliate sort of distribution of funds. But again, that's all possible. I'm sure can be done and coded.
Yeah, think about this for MetaZone. I mean, Decentraland is a 3D world, and art so far has been 2D. So I think with MetaZone, artists will be able to submit 3D sculptures, maybe even animated sculptures.
That's actually, like, now that I've been working in Blender, is actually kind of what I've been.
There you go. Yeah.
You know what I've been working on a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's just definitely a thought of mine was, my cousin was putting me onto I can't remember the dude's name. He makes some sort of cartoon characters, and he'll make these little dolls for people. Like he makes so many of them, and he makes a big model of that same thing somewhere as well in the world.
Yeah,
and Kraz or something like that. But when I seen this guy's work, I was like, man, that could go in Decentraland, and then that'd be cool,
Yeah, like imagine you have like collectible figurines. Right, these are 3D models of like anything, like from Pokemon to like anything that you can think of. You have like collectibles, and they're like 3D objects. I mean, all that could be considered art.
Yeah, well, the other thing is, you could have like, I'm really thinking about this whole concept because I started working on a couple different 3D models, and then like kind of from messing it up, I was like, well, this would look kind of crazy if I did it like this. I don't have to do the model that the guy is showing me on YouTube,
Yeah.
And then, I started kind of thinking about it that way. Like, what if I came up with some more crazy art ideas, things that have maybe a concept or whatever, The next level to that would be 3D printing. So you'd be able to 3D print that thing out, and obviously go anywhere with that.
That's a great idea, man.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if you really want to like do like just a model, right? Let's say you want to, I thought about this too, using all the triangles for my scene just to do one model.
Yeah.
Like, cause that would be cool. I mean, the model would be sick, So I've been thinking about doing that. Just like messing around, like, just do like, I don't know, messing around one day and just like trying to use as many triangles as I can in like a tight spot in the central.
Yeah. I think another thing Augustine said was that there's a lot of, optimizations to be made with the current experience. And I was like, okay, so do you think on web we can get to the point where we can get 200, 300 people in the same area with zero lag? And he said, yes, that should be possible with the tech updates they still have to make. So
that's how it should be.
Better to have a client.
Yeah, it probably requires a client just because 200 avatars in a single location.
I just think the whole thing would be better to have a client, almost like it's a product. It's like, hey, download this thing, go check it out. So as much as it's like good on the web, it's almost better as a client, so you can just tell somebody to go do it.
But doesn't RuneScape run off a website? Do you need a client for it? Do you guys know or play RuneScape or any other online games that don't require download? No RuneScape players?
I know.
No.
I learned of it recently.
Y'all suck, man.
RuneScape.
RuneScape was the bomb, but like RuneScape, RuneScape, you just go in and there's like hundreds of people all around the place, and I don't think you have to download anything. But
it doesn't look like that detailed. And if you're talking about,
hey guys, I don't know if you can hear me. I'm just going to bail on this because, like, literally, my internet connection is so bad. I need to get my internet sorted out on Monday. I'm so sorry, but I'm going to have to chip out on this early. I want to be part of this, but I can't hear.
No problem,
it's
man.
not really working for me.
It was awesome to hear from you.
I'm so sorry about that. I'm so sorry, but I'll join the next one for sure. I'll be there. Like I've had. Thanks to everybody for turning up. I've had a really good time, but I just can't. I can't.
That's all good, man.
Ciao,
don't worry
boys.
about it. Ciao. Take care, man.
All right.
Be safe.
See ya.
So I've never played RuneScape. I keep hearing about it. If whatever they can do, Decentraland can do. So it's just a matter of optimizations. Now, if we need a client, then we should be working on a client. The only issue is, think about what a client means. It's a download to your computer. That means it's got to support Mac. It's got to support Windows, Linux. And anytime Mac updates or Windows updates or Linux updates, they got to update their client. So it's a task in itself just to maintain a client.
For them, it's about the resources as well.
Yeah. Well, for sure. I mean, ultimately, it's you got to weigh the benefits. All the work that it takes to maintain a client compared to maybe 200 avatars on a single screen, right? That's pretty good benefit. So that's all you gotta do. Yeah.
Well, look, if they can get 200, 300 avatars in the single screen using the web browser, it all runs fluid, beautiful, then
you don't need it. Yeah, you don't need.
Yeah. Anyway, so is that it, guys, for SDK and Builder? Do you want to move on, or anything else anyone wants to mention?
Yeah, I've said my piece a couple times. So.
Is there any specific limitations you guys are feeling with the SDK that you think should be easy to implement or should be a quick fix that should be there that isn't there at the moment?
The only thing I would say is make the SDK communicate with the world, right? There's Twitter, there's Instagram, there's all kinds of like webhooks that you can implement within the SDK. It's like from DCL, you should pretty much be able to do anything that you can with a website. Just like
you know what I thought about?
Yeah.
An in-game selfie camera.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, you take a camera. As soon as you take that image, still shot,
it's like tweet
the share button, bang, straight on Twitter.
Exactly. That's what
an in-game record button.
Like, I agree with Will that I think that you should be able to be feeling like you're walking around the internet in Decentraland. Right. You shouldn't have to be feeling like you have to go nowhere. And that's going to be the hook, I think, at the end of the day when we get everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I guess at the moment it feels like you're closed off.
Yeah, Maddie, think about this. It's like if you're an influencer,
you're a little internet bubble.
Yeah, if you're an influencer and you are an affiliate for Amazon, then you should be able to use that affiliate link within your Decentraland parcel and sell Amazon products on your parcel.
Damn, that's next level. Imagine people start making like Amazon websites in Decentraland.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
Amazon bills. Yeah,
you should
big industry.
Do that.
That's when that VR mall really takes over that you got on your land.
That's right.
Up near University, Maddie. If you could be doing that.
Hopefully. It's a really nice piece. I'm just holding it. Oh, I want Decentraland to have more features till I start to decide on things, because I think we're going to keep chopping and changing our ideas at this point. I don't want to spend too many resources. And Pete, at the moment, we've worked out a little, like he can do whatever he wants with the land. And
Is that his build? Okay.
Yeah, so I bought the land from Bitcoiny Pie.
Right.
He sold it to me, and he goes, and he was like, "Oh, there's a surprise on the land, by the way." And I was like, "Really?" So
you didn't even know that was there before you bought it?
No, I just put a bid in. I was negotiating him for the price because the price was pretty good anyway. 50 pieces of land for 750,000.
Yeah. No, it was it was a damn good price. I remember seeing that sale and knowing that mall was on the land, and thinking that
I didn't
that's
know.
crazy. That's
And
crazy.
so
yeah.
When I heard you talking about it, Maddie, how it was yours, I'm like, I could have swore that wasn't Maddie's. I've seen it before. I've been there, and I was like, all right, whatever. It's none of my business. You know?
No, yeah, and then I found out it was Pete, and I was like, man, I have to get Pete on this. Like, I was like, Pete, it's your build. You do whatever you want with it. I'm just interested in the land. I'll hold meetups there. You can do whatever you want. And he helps me out, and I help him out. So it's pretty cool. Pete's an awesome guy, man. He's maybe someone we should have on this as well.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like he was a lot more active, like maybe a year or two ago than he is now, for whatever reason. Yeah, I just feel like in Discord maybe, but that just might be my biased.
Well, his meta sold out.
I'll tell you firsthand, when you started getting the blender, that's a rabbit hole, man. I'm like, I could barely even have half of this conversation because I was doing shit. You know?
Yeah. Pete has a way of building stuff that is very appealing to people that just want simple stuff like houses or mansions or that kind of a cool, prestigious look. And I'm saying that because I'm part of another WhatsApp investor group, and they want to build mansions and things. And I showed Pete stuff, and they were incredibly impressed. And they're not interested in too technical, difficult, like too much technical interactivity, which is why I keep saying the builder does have potential, because if you can just make simple stuff with art galleries and, you need an NFT to access it, video streams and audio streams, just some simple things, but it's like a private hangout, then that fulfills what these guys want to do with it, which is, I guess, a different user base.
But kind of, you'd have an opportunity to make little things for these people that would just want, because we had heard people in the beginning, talking about they just want to make like you talking about, just want to make a mansion, just want to make some fly shit, Yeah. And like, if you just give them the fly shit, like, okay, let's say you, like, for MetaZone, like, this is, I got some shit coming actually in this regard, basically sometime soon. That basically it's like an idea is just like something prestigious for your land.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And
so you would make it ultra scarce, right? Probably only one of a kind or something like that.
Yeah, we probably, I don't know, maybe let's say we make 5 or 6 of these. All these damn things, right?
Yeah, keep in mind, this is going to be an NFT at some point, right?
So exactly. Well, exactly. That's the idea, is that when you get these custom GLBs that are NFTs, and that's
amazing.
Yeah, custom 3D models that are NFTs.
Hell
you know what I'm saying? And you
can also
throw it in the builder and throw it on your land and do whatever the hell you want with it. And then
it's amazing
because there's like 5 of them, or 2 of them, or 1 of them, whatever,
Yeah.
And eventually you can rent these NFTs out, because once the rental contract's out, I'm sure someone could make it so you can rent out these buildings and say I'm hosting a party, and I'm like, oh well, Will has a really cool building that I want on mine
from the casino, and I want to have
yeah. It's gonna look awesome, man.
Did you see that that Boss was selling those things? The cars?
I didn't see what.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was selling those as NFTs.
The Lambos.
The Lambos.
Yeah.
Was it like
from Serenity Island? That casino?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Lambos, all the Lambos, everything was up for sale.
Frankie, speaking of all this stuff, you're so right. Like, we need like chains and watches for wearables.
Yeah,
like we need like wristwear.
We
need something to put on the wrist.
Bull that I made.
Oh yeah.
The what?
I saw that.
The bull? Yeah.
Bull with the chain.
Yeah.
Same idea, man. Like, we need to get some chains out here.
Dude, we need watches. We need something to put on the wrist. Some sort of bracelet or something.
Some bling.
I'm gonna go back to the chain market in a little bit. I've been messing with bakery lately. I'm gonna make a bakery.
Yeah, my avatar needs some ice on it, dude.
I'll tell you all about it, but like, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah, look, the more you can customize your avatar, the better. Whether it be wrists and necklaces, all kinds of stuff, man. It'd be awesome. Teeth, grills.
Hell yeah.
Whatever to customize it to each kind of person's flavor. You gotta remember, this is an international thing. If it's gonna be a thing, it's gonna be an international thing. It's international in this party. I mean, so you would have different people's flavors of what different people kind of want and like. Some people want to walk around with an alien hat and a raver top. Some people might want to look like, some kind of rapper or something.
Oh, those guys did a really good job of that music video. Did you see? The Eurovision.
Yeah, that was cool.
The main character looked exactly like.
Yeah, I was in it.
In videos, just I might start doing more of that shit. I've been so stuck in this damn blender.
Dude, Dennis did such a good job with that, and he's been like MIA since pretty much. Dennis 17.
Yeah.
But that was cool, man.
That's cool.
That's like the sort of stuff that makes Decentraland fun. Just random shit like that.
And that's the sort of stuff with voice chat. It's going to be so much more fun too. Yeah, man.
I'm really excited for that, definitely.
And I don't know how far we are away from it, but it's going to be so much fun when that does get implemented.
Yeah, it'll be a lot better.
Mm-hmm. I thought a voice chat is what they were talking about when they were referring to audio streaming, and I was like, oh well, voice chat's just around the corner, but it seems like it's audio streaming. And
I think audio streaming would be like the ability to stream from some other source, right?
Zoom, I believe. So
okay.
No, I'm saying like audio streaming in as far as the SDK goes, that would have to do with like streaming audio from another server.
Oh, an external source. Oh, yeah.
So that would just free up a bunch of space. Like I could have a podcast on my land as opposed to the 3-4 songs that I can put up right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna come out with a meta that allows you to upload any kind of music that you want, and including podcasts. So it'll make it easier for everybody. Just like basically deploy it on your LAN, and then on the interface you can just upload, I guess HTML links to audio, and from there you can just have pretty much infinite songs.
Ooh.
Yeah, we're gonna figure that out. I gotta figure that out for my LAN and in general.
Yeah, it just makes it easier because, like, I think right now a scene can only have like a song, and then you have to custom build like a way to add additional songs, which is a headache. So then we could just build an interface for that and make it easier.
Sounds good. I'm just writing all this stuff down, so I'm going to make like a dot point thing so that the team knows exactly what we're talking about at each stage.
Yeah, our competition is about to end in about 40 minutes, so I'm just keeping an eye on like what's going on.
That's right. It's looking like Red Nitrous is going to take home a lot of the prizes, though.
Yeah, he is.
That's my sponsor, man.
Yeah, he's bullying.
That's my tribe, my guild.
He wasn't joking.
I forgot you sponsored.
I was like, I'm just gonna hype this up like a WWE wrestler. I'm just gonna talk so much crap to everyone in here and get everyone out here pissed at me and Red.
Yeah.
Let me see how our studios is doing. If he's
I saw him out at your land earlier. I didn't say it. I was waiting for him to say something, but I ended up having to get out. Dude, this Axie tournament has taken like 3.5 hours today. My goodness. I was in this. This has been the busiest day in my entire life in the NFT space.
Really?
Like between CoinFest and the Axie thing, and then the monthly tournament and all that stuff, and then this, like trying to get everything sorted out. My neighbor's dog started barking at like 5:30 in the morning. It's been a long day for me. So
how's that Axie tournament? What is it exactly?
So it was put on by the Axie GG guys. And they're probably the biggest community within Axie. They have all the best players represented by them. And they put on, I don't know how many teams.
That's Ben, by the way, man.
I was thinking.
No, Ben is Leaky Games. It's a little bit different. Axie GG.
I thought he's Axie GG. Ben Kelly.
He is Leaky. He's Leaky Games. Axie GG is like Chief. And there's like 4 or 5 big ones. Chief and RC Tech and
no way. Because Ben invited me to Axie GG, and he's like,
he might have some sort of affiliation with it. But the Axie GG guys, when you play them, it'll say their username and then like /Axie GG. Like it says like they're represented by it. So today we had 32 teams in it. 32 different users joined in for the tournament. And this is like a qualifying tournament for the really big one that's going to be in like a few months. So today it was like, I think the top 2 players, I don't know, I might be wrong. Like I said,
you're in the top 10, aren't you?
Well, that was last season, but today I'm actually at 10th place in this tournament today. So I'm
top 10.
I played 4 different users and I'm 3-1. One of them was the Axie GG guys. I beat Toured.
Yeah. You got to change your name to represent Decentraland.
I got to get a sponsor. Yeah, I got to get a sponsor. No, it's Axie's a lot of fun, and they have their own little land metaverse stuff coming out too. They had their crate sales a while back, but
they did really well with their land pre-sale. I thought sold about 4,000 Ethereum worth of land.
But they do it weird where it's like random. You don't get to hand pick what land you want. It's just a crate, and you get a random piece of land.
But it kind of worked well. It worked okay because the earlier ones could get estates and stuff.
Yeah, but you still have users that like buy 10 crates and don't get any of the good pieces of land, and then they're like, all right, screw that. You know, it goes both ways.
True.
But no, actually, it's a lot of fun.
What are you winning in these tournaments? Do you have an idea what the prize pools are? Or?
So for this one, it's just the qualifier. So I don't think there is a prize pool other than you get to play in this big tournament for free. And this big tournament is going to have a paid entry for sure. One of the tournaments was like a $25 entry fee. But that tournament paid out $250 to the top prize. There's 16 of us who played. The big tournament I think is a 3,000 Luna or something like that is the winner gets. I can't remember exactly how much it is in dollars, but it's all like Luna coins.
Is that like a cryptocurrency they made, or?
Yeah, it's not them. Let me check real quick.
They have their own currency, don't they? What's it called?
SLPs?
No. It's another one. Axie has their. Is it Luna? Is that their token? Is that Axie Infinite?
It might be. Yeah. Man, I'm trying to figure it out. I can't find exactly where this tournament payout info is right now.
I like what they do with the whole competition thing, and that was all organized by the community. Like Axie came in.
Yeah, it is.
That's what we need to do as well. Like, why not have our own? Like with what's it called? Just MetaZone or Block Runner or Black Zone or whatever that's called. Sorry. Why don't have like a knockout tournament where it's just one-on-one, 15, 20 people. And you verse someone one-on-one, you get 5 entries each, and similar style to Axie GG, or have more competitions. I know there was a backgammon one introduced by Decentral Games. Yeah, so there's so much competition we could do.
You could do a lot. Yeah, one of the things that we're going to focus on after we get Zombie Outbreak released is sync all the games with everybody. So for example, like all 5 of us can jump in Block Runner and be jumping the same walls. And then playing the same game on Block Hole, like once it's synced, then you can have like an actual last man standing elimination game.
Can that be done at the moment?
I think it can be done. It's just I think it requires
it's not
like an authentication server or something extra.
And it's not good enough on DCL's end right now either. Where there's been times I'm in there with like 3 different people, but it's like everyone's just at a standstill. Yeah. Like you don't see like the updated motions of other avatars like in a real time span. Like they'll just be standing there and then they just like morph out of it. Yeah. Like, and they've like already lost in that time span and they're already a parcel away.
Yeah, you may not see somebody lose in real time, like in like actual real time, but they're seeing the same game that you're seeing. It's just maybe it's a little bit delayed, but it's still the same game. Yeah. It's a little weird.
I would love to be able to be on the same time span as them, like jump in front of them and make them try and miss a block because I'm going to like the one I picked.
That's 100% possible once the client is there. Unless it makes some like ultimate updates or optimizations on the actual site itself, then you'll be able to do that.
Yeah, I think we should make our own Axie GG equivalent.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, like a mini company or organization that runs competitions and brings on board sponsors. I can bring on board sponsors easily.
I'm sure come up with like a guild name. Yeah, we got to come up with like a guild name because if DCL is going to do guilds too, we can't just call ourselves Decentraland. Like
that's true.
We got to come up with like some sort of like special guild name for Decentraland, and then we can go out and market ourselves in other communities. Yeah. So then when they come over, they know where to go.
Or we can do it right now and just start running competitions, and then once you can run the DAOs within Decentraland and make it official. So,
yeah, start a gang war. With guilds.
We'd be like the cartel right now, though. No one would be able to touch us.
We can have a special uniform.
Yeah, that's more of my idea.
We can have a special uniform, maybe the pineapple glasses or whatever can supply them.
Yeah, I guess that kind of like
25 of them
perfectly.
shits or something. I don't know.
That might perfectly segue into something else you wanted to discuss: is the wearables or the NFTs, whitelisting capabilities
Yep.
for
Let's talk
Decentraland.
about that.
This whole guilding system or whatever we're talking about is perfect setup for, like, I guess guild specific NFTs or whatever. So we all have these wild ideas of how to incentivize these competitions, but until we can have access to this NFT, you know,
Creation.
How to create wearables.
creation
Yeah.
capabilities, yeah, we can't. There's really not enough incentive other than getting sponsorships on board to kind of like provide that mana pool, at stake. So that's something we really need to, I don't know, maybe pressure or figure out like what's the deal with that.
Yeah, and let's see, if you guys agree that we think the wearable should be an open market. I know that the negative side of an open market is that you'll have a bunch of copies. But let's say, Frankie's a really good artist and like a wearable artist, and he's got a bunch of clones out there. My incentive is to fund Frankie, so I want to buy his stuff, not clones of his stuff.
Here's what I'll say about that. Well, I think that this in my ideal world, it would go like this. It would go like some sort of governance would print like the Federal Reserve print NFTs of this many. Like, all right, this quarter we all voted. We're printing this many legendaries. We're printing this many mythics. We're printing this many, and they're just empty NFT. Like figure it like a card, right? And then the person that buys up that round of mythics, that round of legendaries, that round of whatever it may be, that person buys that up, and then they make a wearable that goes in there, and then that's how it would work. So you wouldn't necessarily, as a creator, always have the right to make it this, that, or the other. It'd be whatever you can get your hands on that round, that way, that time around, and maybe even some sort of way of divvying them out where it's some sort of fair. Like, obviously you want it in the hands of the great creators and people with money, but at the same time, like, you don't want to be making it so another creator can't come in,
Yeah. I want it in a way where you don't have to have money to purchase the capability to build. So I think they might introduce like licenses or some sort of.
I can see that. I mean, I'm okay with that too. If you work your way up within the community and everybody's like, yeah, this person is worth giving them. Let's say, all right, we vote this person to give them an epic, or so you give them like a lower. You're not even able to make mythics until you have made every single version, let's say,
like a reputation score.
So how would you get to that point though if you're not able to
the community,
like publish anything by yourself before that point? Like, how would you be able to distinguish yourself from other people?
In the beginning, you'd vote. There'd be a vote. Let's say, okay, in the beginning there'd be a vote for whatever artist we think is we want making the wearables, and people propose their ideas or whatever, right? And then you give this person the opportunity to make like everybody in the beginning can't make nothing. Like, everything is epic,
I understand what you're saying, but like, how would you decide who to vote on is what I'm saying. If they don't have like a way to like prove that they can create the artwork for the wearables in the first place, if you're not allowed to sell wearables in the first place.
You would put together
a portfolio or something like that and say, okay.
I made a t-shirt, no shit like that. Hell no. Be like, here's my idea about how I'm going to be a wearables creator.
Yeah. Check out this astronaut suit I just made. Okay, I got you.
Not just check out this astronaut suit,
but like stuff like,
that I created.
No, I know what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
I think what can be implemented is first of all, I don't see it being implemented in a way where we suggest like drawings and images and then Decentraland make it happen. I think what will probably happen Decentraland will introduce some sort of like a building capability to build your own wearable. And then if that happens, then you can build your own portfolio offline and with their builder, and show that portfolio to the community. Maybe based on that, we can vote them in because that shows like the
See, the problem with that's like t-shirt printing, whereas Like, I think that we would want to be, like, to me, all because I know that the parameters for the wearables exist. I've seen them, like in just GitHub and shit like that, right? So they exist out there. I think the only thing they would have to do is to basically let us take those parameters, like make something with the right parameters in the SDK. And this is why I think that it would separate. Like, I wouldn't want it in the builder, because it would be like, it's not.
Oh, no. Whether the SDK or the builder, I don't mean the current builder. I'm saying like they're going to have their own functionality, their own separate builder, like the wearable, drag and drop or skew or whatever it is that can create very technical eyeglasses or whatever it may be. Is that what?
That's what they're doing?
I want it to be like that.
See, what I'm saying is this. I think that it should be in the hands of people that can create, like in 3D building. You know what I'm saying? So there should, because I know there's like a SDK protocol for every wearable, for all the wearables, Mythic, everything. There's the protocol. Like you can look it up. Just like if you've ever deployed a scene, there's like the scene JS, I believe, right? And it's like it's like the parameter. That's where you put the number of the parcels that you're deploying to or what have you, right? There's that same thing for the wearables. And if they just let you have like the parameters of how to make that happen, to make it so they're actually official, and then you would be able to put together your portfolio.
Yeah, I agree on the parameters. I don't necessarily want a builder because that limits the creation style. Like, for example, what if you want to put wings on your character, right? Yeah. Or what if you wanted to put a parrot on your shoulder? I mean, that's technically a shirt with like a parrot, right?
Yeah.
So like it
would be too many limitations to me with a builder. And also, I think that there should be some sort of prestige behind making the wearables. We've already made the wearables market crazy, So I think there should be some sort of prestige making wearables, and like just as in general, just like the wearables market. Like, why are we out here buying all these shits up if we're just gonna turn around and just dilute the market with some whoever? It should be a big deal to be somebody who makes wearables.
Yeah, that's true. But at the same time, I want to. If you think about who wants to right now make wearables that needs them. For example, the Digitable team, they have the whole Ross Tower. Their whole play is to make masks and wearables to help fund that project.
Yeah, I love those are the people that got me into this. So.
Oh, really? Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
I interviewed one of the guys a long time ago, and he said, "Oh,
really? Is it Steve?
Decentraland?" And I'm like, "What is that?" Because I had heard about it on Coinbase. Just in Coinbase, and so I looked into it, and that day I was like, "Yep, buying land," that was it.
Yeah.
Was them Decentracraft? Who else?
Who? Sorry, who?
Decentracraft.
Daftcraft. There's so people are already into it. I would obviously like to make wearables with my the whole chains and everything like that.
Well, what about Sugar Club? Like, they would want just simple T-shirts with the logo on, right?
Simple T-shirts. I think. Here's the thing.
There needs to be a solution for that. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying, and I think that yes, T-shirt making should be a thing. Like,
you just submit a PNG and that's it.
Your own T-shirts. Let's say this. You could make a common category that is for custom T-shirts, and then it'd be like, whatever you meant for commons, those go to the custom T-shirts.
Or you can have like just a basic shirt that you can just print a logo on, and that should be uncapped or capped. It doesn't matter because
that would be cool. That would be cool if anyone could make a T-shirt.
That's actually
your logo
better.
That opens it up for everyone to market whatever.
It wouldn't be it wouldn't even matter. It could just be like your custom T-shirt that you wear.
Dude, because imagine if we could give out like Block Runner Champion Week 2 T-shirts to people, and then they could rock those around. You know what I mean? Like, that would be cool. Like, people would want those.
That shouldn't be a thing. That should be a more custom thing. Whereas what we're talking about with the like the random, just like anybody making a T-shirt, that could be something that's not even an NFT. That is just a part of your guy's apparel. Like, you can just customize a T-shirt. Okay. That way, anybody who came in the game would have at least something that they could be unique.
Oh, it's just free. Yeah.
I mean,
I see what you mean.
Yeah, I can only take so many plaid shirts running around the world.
Wearables all make your own. You know, all right, now you got your own T-shirt, but you don't got a fucking fox head, you idiot. I mean,
yeah. So Frankie, you're talking about essentially going to your avatar like manipulator on DCL, and
right
one of the
uploading the image.
Yeah, just upload an image through that interface, and then all of a sudden you have your T-shirt, your custom T-shirt.
Yeah, that's the move.
Yeah.
Because then again, then you make custom creations something way more sought after. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I have this and that on a T-shirt, but I don't have whatever get up that person, you know, and that can go on and on. You know, like I have a lot of ideas for wearables, like when it comes to like a real world applications. I think that it would work.
Yeah, think of like the Pack Runner Champion, like month 1.
The ability to make them first. You know?
Yeah, think of like the Pack Runner Champion. You have like a tiny ghost revolving around you, like as a T-shirt.
That's actually would be amazing. Like a little thing that, and then again about knowing the way to code it, because if you knew how to code it, then you'd be able to code things into it.
That's right.
You know, and we had talked about this a long time ago. I know we talked about this.
Yeah.
Superpowers.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm always about it. I'm like, man, it'd be so cool to have a cape. And because you got the cape, you can fly now.
Right.
Or a helicopter hat. He can fly like Inspector Gadget.
Yeah. You only fly slow with the helicopter hat. That'd be a little
yeah. Oh man, there's so much you can do, man.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Like the wearables, I think it's complicated at the moment, but we need to find solutions for everyone that wants to get involved, because people want to get involved for different reasons, and each person in the wearable.
Look at that shirt.
Yeah, man, that looks awesome. Bring that. It'd be good if you can match.
Oh man,
did you buy that?
Yeah, dude, I got some of them made. Yeah. I got some hoodies and some T-shirts made for some contest prizes, but I couldn't really figure out the exact way to do it last time. I feel like a lot of people are going to be reluctant to give me their address to like ship it to them. Which I understand, but I mean, at the same time, like. I mean, it's a lot. It's worth more money.
Than my address right now.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, I got some hoodies that are the same exact thing.
Yeah.
Which for you Texas boys might not be that useful, but I know for Frankie up here in Ohio and Boston, we love a hoodie. No, but I still got all those things to hand out at a later date. I just felt like with all the feedback that we got for. The prize donations from last time, I really didn't need to be doing it. But I'm sorry to derail whatever conversation was going on. I just remembered about that.
How many do you have?
Away real quick. I'll be right back.
Yep.
What's up, Will?
How many of those do you have?
I think there's 10.
10?
I think it's a mythic. No, I think it's no. I think I have like 6 T-shirts and 4 hoodies, but 2 of the hoodies are already spoken for. Me and Mana Eater. We're gonna get 2 of those. Nice. Mana Eater just drops it and out whenever it's.
You know what? This made me think about a topic. So I'm thinking about who are we solving the wearable problem for? Obviously, we have Sugar Club. We have people that want to create to sell. Create to promote. We also have I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Meta Factory.
Yeah.
You know Meta Factory? So basically, they just built in crypto voxels a big building, and basically their whole play is to get designers to design real world hoodies and shirts. And when they sell in the real world, you also get an NFT to enjoy them in the digital world.
Mm-hmm.
So that can happen in crypto voxels because anyone can create wearables. But with Decentraland, it's an awesome thought. But how do we enable that a company like them and what they want to do within Decentraland?
To do the real life wearable stuff for like
T-shirts. So the real life so when they sell real life wearables,
it's also an NFT.
Yeah, because they want to sell. They want to give that person an NFT as well to introduce them. Somehow connect the real and the digital world.
I think Chico Crypto did something similar to that too, where he was selling those long sleeve T-shirts. Yeah, and it was like out of 10. I don't know. I think it was an actual NFT too.
No, but the NFT is a wearable.
I'd be up to Will, not
to. Oh, gotcha.
the NFTs are wearable.
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
where it's different.
Okay.
See what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yes. That's a sick thought. That's amazing.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, because you're basically
totally
double dipping. You're you're getting something to actually wear and then something to like show off.
Yeah, the value proposition is so much bigger because you can wear it in the real world and the digital world. But so they were working with me because so what I'm doing with my land is, I can't build on the SDK, but I can allocate land to people. I can approach businesses, give them land and say, hey, play test as much as you want. So they were going to come on board, and I gave them a 4-piece parcel, and I think they were going to build something. I'm not sure if they're going to go ahead with it or not, but I can see them taking the back foot because they don't even know if what they want to do can be implemented within Decentraland. So what I'm thinking about, how can we put something in place that gives them a solution of making those wearables every time they do a new release for their jumpers or hoodies, and kind of keep everyone else.
That's what I'm
happy.
saying, Maddie, is that about that whole general idea about like a ranking system within the creators. You know, you have like certain creators that are mythic creators. They only create mythic items, you know, and so on and so forth. But you build your way up. So if a company wants to do something, that's fine. Just do something that's common. You know, or so, you know what I'm saying? Like you give them like that's available. Yeah, you could buy a common contract, but you can't just be a mythic creator. So
I think mythic creators should come with like some sort of proof of work. Like if they've
absolutely you should
achieved
have done,
X amount of something.
You got to be a mythic creator in your first time. No one. You know what I'm saying? Then that would work out like where you like, all right, well, you know, this person made this and that was successful. They made that one that was successful. They ranked them up. Let's say that's like a ranking up system within the Decentraland in general. You know?
Yeah.
What if
I like that, man.
Somebody with some already like pre-existing clout, you know what I mean, like an influencer who just wants to come into Decentraland.
You gotta come up in here and get your clout, man. You can't.
Yeah, man. We're a different beast.
We all spend too much time and money in this motherfucker. We can't get clout, man.
Yeah, but the common thing is a great solution. I forgot about it again. Like if you can just come in. So you're saying, so this is different to the T-shirt with the print slap on it. This is you can customize it however you want, but it's a common category with only
but then
1,000 or 5,000 releases.
With our releases, right? Let's say, and then the common ones would be, you know, like let's say that's how you get into the game. You know, you buy yourself a set of common, and you still have to pay for it. You know, but you buy it, whatever, and then cool. Now you have the opportunity to show your work, and if nobody likes your trashy ass shit, then you're all done. You know, it's the last time you're ever gonna create another wearable, you know, whatever it is, you know. So if you're just a business and wanting to create some sort of wearable, then you buy one of those and create it, and that'll be the end of your day. And
sorry, Frankie, you're saying you have to buy a common license, or you're saying you have to buy
license? Yep.
Also so, a common license.
Let's say we release like, okay, we're gonna do, you know, I don't know. I'm gonna give a really terrible number. Let's say 50 commons out or whatever, you know, like whatever it may be. You know, okay, so licenses, exactly. Okay. Like so it's like 50 sets of 5,000. That's too much, but whatever. It's just what I'm saying. So, you know, whatever people can buy those, but there's only a certain, like you'd have to have like, let's say a ranking system to where, okay, well, only these kind of people, you know, you'd have to have this badge, whatever it is, to buy epics and so on and so forth as time goes along, you know, to keep that thing up. Like, you know, the certain artists are available to buy these ones when they come out. See what I'm saying? So that way you would have like, let's say we released, you know, 10 mythics, and there's a couple of different artists that you know, that do it. You know, and they're vying for that. You know, maybe I don't know. Maybe there's some sort of way to you know, to kind of divvy that out too as things go along. But basically, the idea is to trim the amount of people that can actually even buy those ones, because again, we've made it something like it'd be pointless to have done all this stuff with the wearables to turn around and then just let anybody do anything.
Yeah, I agree. Especially mythics. Like, I mean, if 1,000 people release 10 mythics each, then it becomes,
you know,
a common.
But it's just like I would like, honestly, to me, I would like to see these be the last wearables DCL ever puts out, and then hand it over to the community and say, okay, now, you know, there's some sort of system in place.
Yep, I agree. And so DCL shouldn't be able to put out any more wearables.
I know the best system. That's just the system that I'm bringing up. What I'm saying is like some sort of system, and that they no longer release NFTs wearables. They go and work on the goddamn project. You know what I mean? Every day. You know, go work on the SDK.
Unless they have a license that we vote in.
No, I know. What I'm saying is like the people from Decentraland just go work on the project. Don't worry about the wearables. We'll take that from here. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah.
Yeah, but they're equally capable of.
Yeah, they're also a community member.
Yeah, or they set aside like a certain handful of wearables, and then we get to vote when they get released or something like that.
I mean, I honestly would like to see this be the last batch they ever do.
As someone who also holds wearables, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, not only. Wait. Not only on the side of that. Let me get back.
No, I know.
Not only on the side of that, because they're not that cool, and obviously we could do better as a community. I could do better right now. Give me 35 minutes.
We need jerseys.
You know
we need like Kobe jerseys, man. LeBron jerseys, like stuff like that to wear.
Yeah, you can do so many things. Like, you know, what I'm saying is that, you know, it can be done. And
I know Ambrose wants to make like a ton of sneakers. I know he's into that stuff.
Dude, Ambrose like cleaned house in the builder contests.
Did he?
Oh,
he did really well.
And the first one, he like cleaned house. He got a couple nice estates. Oh yeah, yeah. Ambrose was where.
But see, like someone. So what they should be doing is, if you win or you get a top 3 prize, you get a license to build a mythic or something. So that license may be represented by an NFT. And there you can sell that on the marketplace if you want.
Right around that whole subject of becoming a top. I think it would just be create a thing where we don't even have a thing yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, this is another example of a perfect proposal for the DAO. We need to get these proposals out there and get the DAO moving.
Yeah. On top of that, like the proposal itself needs to be like easily modifiable by the community. Let's say for example, Frankie puts up this proposal and most agree, but there's like some changes where most think that change should be, you know, added in there. There's got to be some way to like
we can just suggest edits.
And
then Frankie can accept or
decline. Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think keeping it short to the point. Yeah. Do you guys want to jump to the next topic? We got a couple more.
Yeah, sure.
Before. So we have wearable whitelisting. I think we talked enough about that. So across metaverse and interoperability, kind of working with other metaverses or even just other projects. Was it Chris that brought that up? Oh, sorry, Rio.
It was Rio, yeah.
We'll talk about it anyway. I'm sure you'll watch this.
Which, just to kick this off, did you guys see that one video that Jalen posted in the Block Runner Discord?
No.
Where there was that one... what was that? Yesterday morning? 2 days ago? He posted that video of that project where they were like going from high fidelity to like holding spot and then into the next world, and then they would go from that world to a holding spot and then into the next world. And it was just like almost like a motel or a hotel, and you got like doors all the way down the hallway, or like a gaming room where there's like all these different like gaming consoles, and you just walk up to that door or that gaming console and you like jump right into that world. It was sweet.
It's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, it was really cool. That's what we need, something like that. Some sort of website like that or platform like that where everything's available right there. You can just go in and out of whatever you want.
See, but that's something that the community should build though, right? Like
it should be. Yeah, because all these different leads are never going to get together to do it just based off a timing issue. Like you're not going to have enough time to organize stuff with everyone else. I mean, imagine how much negotiating would have to be there for everyone to get what they're looking for out of it. Yeah. Between Decentraland and Somnium Space and all that stuff. It's got to be users to do it.
I think that we need to get on, like, you know, I mean, I know we don't have enough devs, you know, but if teams of people went in one direction, okay, this team of people is going to figure this thing out, you know, and then come back to the community with that thing. Now as a community, we figure this thing out, you know, that way, like, let's say updating the SDK for one thing or another, you know, then it wouldn't be so hard on waiting on the BCL team all day long, you know?
Yeah.
But the problem is with that, you can put together the best team possible, but you don't want to go right when the DCL team is going left on something. Like you want to make sure that if you're putting in a lot of work and a lot of time and effort right now, that it's going to pay off in the long run. And I feel like right now there's a lot of people waiting out there in the wings that are talented and capable of building something, but they just don't want to commit to a project that is still in the very early days. Like all of us have been around for a long time. All of us know the deal and everything like that. But for a lot of other projects that are just kind of skimming by and just kind of checking stuff out, I mean, would you commit to something right now? Because I don't think I would if I was a project just kind of coming in right now.
That makes sense.
So, no, I know what you're saying though. There needs to be a group to focus on something, but it's just tough. You don't know what to focus on. Right now.
Somebody that's in all the worlds, they need to just set some standards, like some development standards, and then the developers have to abide by those standards in order to agree on that interoperability. I mean, other than that, I mean, I don't see another way of doing it.
Yeah, that's tough because there's a lot of already tribalism within the metaverses, which is ridiculous, but it is.
There is a lot of tribalism, and that's what I can't understand how to get past, to be honest. Like,
I don't understand that
either. It makes sense because you own and are invested in the growth of whichever project you've invested in. There's a financial incentive to do that. And anything else you spend your time growing, it doesn't make sense because you feel it'll dilute your investment. That's the common perception. So how do we bring value to both worlds? What initiative can we do that will bring value to both worlds?
But think about what our conversation we had earlier, Maddie, is like if we start integrating with all these different projects like DeFi and Engine and all these, like it adds value to your world.
Oh yeah, with them, yeah. But I'm talking about like crypto voxels and Somnium space.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If we provide that interoperability, or if interoperability was actually a thing amongst all the metaverses, it actually improves all the worlds that are involved.
Exactly.
It doesn't take away.
Man, Jen is a perfect example of someone who just put together like a interoperability with everything. Like Jen did that. Right. Jen did that little field trip with all those worlds, and it's not gonna. If something happens where all these groups are working together, it's not going to be between the two like leadership teams. It's going to be between users like us that get other users on board. Like the teams are never going to promote each other's spaces right now.
Yeah, well,
like you'd be crazy to. Like no one has a finished product, so why would you promote someone else's? It's going to be people like us that have to do it. Go ahead, Frankie. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying is like metaversing is going to have to be a thing. Like being part of that community as in general, like not just like ours. You know what I mean?
I wonder if like could you're saying like MetaZone?
No, metaverses.
Like, oh, okay. I was gonna say like what if like you guys at MetaZone could do something where like people could buy stuff for like crypto voxels or Somnium space off your platform?
Oh yeah, that's
could you guys do that and like include other projects on there?
For sure.
People, you could have different sections of stuff because that would be awesome. Because then if someone's coming for crypto voxels, they're going to run into stuff for Somnium space or Decentraland or Sandbox on the website too.
Exactly. Yeah, we're going to have tabs, and the different tabs are the different metaverses. And so that's part
awesome.
of the
we
plan.
made sure this morning with Lastrom, who's developing the smart contracts and everything, that we were going to have that future interoperability capability. He pretty much reassured us that there's like a couple of lines of code maybe he has to alter in order for that to be a reality. So that's kind of like the long-term vision of the platform itself. We don't want it just to be Decentraland focused because we recognize this whole model of metaverse, like, you know, these projects are just creating these new land ecosystems. It's becoming a trend that we're noticing.
Yep.
So it's not going to stop here.
Yep.
So it makes sense to support and service all these individual metaverses. You know, they're basically mirror copies of each other, just different aesthetics or whatever they are. So this morning we had like a good discussion about that. Make sure that's a possibility. So for sure, we'll definitely see that.
That's awesome.
One thing I had in mind was how do we give value to what people have invested in already? So obviously, crypto voxel land tokens, people have paid a couple of Ethereum for them. How do we, or can't we just bring value to those or give value to those tokens within Decentraland? Maybe give those tokens value in some sort of way. They get like a room or their own space to create within Decentraland somewhere.
I think one of the things we're chatting.
Incentive program, huh? Like I see what you're saying.
Yeah, like
or maybe even like just a massive. So I can just dedicate a massive space for like a mini a mini map world where
Yeah,
you can build stuff and it'll just mirror what it is in Decentraland. Oh, I don't know.
I see. Huh.
yeah,
Kind of.
that's what.
Well, I think one of the things we were chatting about, Maddie, on our Discord was that if we wanted to, let's say, get Axie to sponsor like zombies, like for that month or maybe that year, I don't know. That if you own an Axie, like you have an NFT associated to your account, and that account is playing zombie, well, that you have access to a different weapon in that world. And so just by owning an Axie,
by owning an Axie,
you have another weapon that you can access in that game. So
that would be something cool.
That's something that we can control.
Where dudes can like what you're talking about there, just like, all right, because I did this in their game over there.
That's right.
Now I got this is exclusive to over here.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like people in Decentraland that don't play Axies, are they going to want access to that exclusive weapon? So then they're going to buy an Axie. And then you get them to cross over into that space too. Like I think it's a fantastic idea.
Yeah. Totally agree.
I mean, there's also Gods Unchained, massive community, huge. Yeah. Can do the exact same thing.
Yeah. So one of the things I was even thinking about is with all these.
It's actually really
good.
Frankie. Oh, I'm sorry. But,
no, go ahead.
Gods Unchained is real good to bring up because, I invested in Gods Unchained a while ago. And like, excuse me, I didn't know, like I have a bunch of cards still that I don't know what to do with, if you had a situation where you could use cards to, let's say, play Black Runner, and, that would be something that would be interchangeable. Like, I don't know,
Yeah. This awesome card gets you like a free life for Block Runner or something like that.
Like a card that nobody ever uses anyway, like, whatever cards, and just something that would,
or what you can also do is,
excuse me. Okay.
Sorry, Frankie, I cut you off.
No, it's all good. I have a bunch of bullshit Gods Unchained cards that I would love to give away to play anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So like we can also leverage on their releases. So if Gods Unchained is releasing a new season, right? Well, suddenly we can leverage and say, we're creating this game, the new season, whoever contributes to that, or whichever new card is coming up, those card holders, we can run an event exclusive for the people that have invested in them, or do something special. So suddenly you're leveraging the hype and the energy behind all of these games and their releases and their updates and everything. We're bringing something you can also do with their tokens within Decentraland, because I think Decentraland is the only thing with an SDK impressive enough to build something that you can attract external other projects on, right? I think CryptoVoxels or
see that would be a good sponsorship. Like with Gods Unchained, we could do a sponsor where for the next season of cards, maybe one of their rare version of the cards could be up for like the monthly tournament or a daily tournament, or the highest score in the week gets access to this card. I mean, something like that.
So I had this idea, right? I was thinking about this the other day. Since we have avatars and we can like basically, it'd be better with like a different kind of chat mechanism. But either way, let's say you had a guy, right, and you had to find this guy's certain name, say Frankie Needles. You had to find me on the land somewhere. I was going to be on the land from this time to this time. It was like, like kind of like you had to just find this person. The first person to find this person gets, let's say, a card, or let's say whatever thing that's a prize.
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing with giveaways and getting people on board from other projects is you want to give away something as a prize. And I'm speaking from experience here with the Axie crowd, because I've had quite a bit of Axie sponsors on board. I've run 2 tournaments now. I think I've had Jihaz and RC Tech from the very jump bought ad spots on my Omni boards. And I've had Bronzebeard and Crystal Human and some
What
of the
did the Axie community think about Decentraland?
You know what? I really got to kind of dig into their thoughts on stuff because, and this is kind of what I'm about to dive into, but I feel like a lot of the guys really like the idea, but they don't come over to get on board with it, or they do and they lose interest. And I think part of that is because the prizes that you're giving away, even if they might cost like $5, which is a lot for those communities, for like a card or an Axie, like $5 to $8 is like a substantial price to pay for something like that. But what happens is to onboard these people, it costs the 100 mana. For most of these people, they don't own mana. So they have to go out of their way to figure out a method to obtain mana. So they have to get that to sign up. And then you're paying roughly what, $3 for the name and the mana registration. Through this, you're paying like 10 cents of Ethereum for gas. And then once you get in, you really don't know what you're doing. And I think if you're giving away a prize, it's like $5 to $10. It's like like for us, like that's a good prize, like for people to compete with. But if you're trying to onboard someone, I think it's a lot more difficult because you have to value the process of signing up and everything at like $10 minimum. With the 100 mana it costs and all the hoops you have to jump through and everything, like you have to value it at a higher price.
I think we should remove the 100 mana name.
I know. And that's why I've offered to just pay people's registration fees that I think are valuable to the community. I've done that with people that are trolling in the public channels where I'm like, listen, you sign up, I'll pay you your 100 mana, you walk around, meet me at this location, walk around. If you want to keep talking shit, but I'm going to give you every reason not to.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a big hurdle for people to get to get the mana. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to the CoinDesk guys on Twitter, but he tweeted out, CoinDesk. What was the guy's name? Maddie?
June.
June. He tweeted out a few days back. He was like, hey, what's the easiest way to get mana? And I tweeted at him and I said, Uniswap. I was like, Uniswap is by far the easiest way to obtain. And if you have Ethereum,
2-minute job.
Oh my God, it's so easy. It's a one button. If you have Ethereum, you can get pretty much any NFT coin that you're looking for. You can even get SLPs from Axies. And so I tweeted at him to go through that route. And 2 days later, he tweets back at me and says, hey, I used Uniswap. It was by far the easiest thing I've ever done. There's something along those lines. It's like, man, like, but it still took him 2 days to tweet back at me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's the easiest thing ever. It still takes 2 days. But there's definitely stuff we can do to get people on board. I just think it's going to take a really concentrated effort on that community. And you're going to have to go all out in that community to get people to come over. Because you gotta contribute time to it too, not just finances. You gotta give your time to it.
Well, I think right now it's a lot of us reaching out to them and convincing them that Decentraland's cool. But eventually, within 1, 2, 3 months, I'm sure it's going to look completely different to what it does now, with a lot more features. I'm sure they're going to hold another competition. Maybe that work will be less needed. Maybe people will see the social sharing and be like, oh, well, I want to jump into Decentraland right now because there's an event going on. So hopefully that effort becomes easier. But I think they should get rid of the name 100 mana for the names, because at the end of the day, like, no one's really buying up names anymore. So
or like, I'm sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say, or you can claim a name and then you get to play Decentraland for like 15 minutes. You get to be active for 15 minutes until it asks you to pay for it or something like that, where you can like just get in and just like that, just join in and not have to go through everything in the very beginning, because that's just off-putting to some people.
That's true. I mean, CryptoVoxels is so easy on mobile or desktop. You just click the link and you're in there with MetaMask or not.
Yeah.
And then if you want to interact a little bit more, then you got to figure that out. But just to go in there and view what's happening, you don't need to do anything. Just click the link.
Yeah, there's a reason for that though.
All right. Do we have another topic? Or does anyone else want to contribute to this, which I don't even know what the topic is anymore? Cross metaverse and interoperability. So,
yeah, I guess like how often, Maddie, since you're kind of like the main voice of the community, you've been for a while now, a couple of years, I'm assuming. So you know, now the realization of like this is like a community effort to improve this platform. Somebody has to pick up these batons. You know, there's batons laying out everywhere in front of, you know, different responsibilities people got to pick up, and it seems like you're the guy that's kind of have to like be that community organizer. I think it comes natural to you. A lot of people respect you. A lot of people listen to you. So how often are we going to do this? Is kind of like what I'm wondering. Like what
this meetup?
Yeah, like
man, as often as you guys want, man. I can do it twice a week if you want. Once a week.
Is Augustine considering joining these conversations?
I can ask him to.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great if we can get like I said, the community vision aligned, like where we want things to go. Because we could do this all day. Like we could literally just spitball ideas and like theories and opinions, but will we actually get anywhere is the question I want to know.
This is what I told him while on the call with him. He seemed interested in getting the community more involved, understanding what we want, and building some sort of a process to it. So I'm hoping this video is the start of that closed loop where we can create feedback, goes to them, they hear us out, we get discussions going on about this video. We keep doing this stuff, growing the community voices, and whether they want to come live or not, maybe them coming on live, I don't know how possible that is. Ideally, it would be the best, but maybe this could be a start of that kind of feedback loop, and also maybe us sending questions and having one of them answer them on video. That also gives a face to the project, because I mean, Somnium Space, each other project has their faces representing the projects on Twitter, on WhatsApp groups. Like they're very active in doing that. Decentraland team aren't. That's what we are doing. So I'm hoping this is the start. This is one of the things that will contribute to that, along with other things. So.
Okay, so should like after every session we have, should we take away some kind of like objective or goal as far as like
what to do next?
Yeah, what to do next, or what to send to the team. Like this is what we think needs to be done. Almost, you know what I mean? Just kind of like compile a community, like I said, some key points that the community kind of agrees on. Like it's kind of up to us to organize those thoughts. You know what I mean?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through this video. I'll ask you guys if you want me to cut out anything you don't want on. I'm going to cut it into things that are valuable for the team, minus just us talking crap. I don't know if they want to hear that. And
exactly.
They don't have much time. You got to look, man. Ideally, they want 20 minutes of video and a one-pager of information. That's digestible, realistically. So I'm going to do all that cutting and dot pointing. If you think you want to add anything else to it.
Yeah, like the proposals we kind of like thought of while we were discussing, it'd be a good thing individually. We could all just contribute, like just write down proposals that we can come up with, that we think will improve the platform overall.
Okay, so are you talking about things that we can communicate to the team?
Well, because it seems like you have like a really good communication with them, better than the rest of us. You know what I mean?
Well, I hound them every day.
Exactly.
I'm like messaging them every day, all of them. Ari, Sam, I don't care, man. Like I need to know what's going on. I got like 200 pieces of land, man. I got like 5 million mana. Like what's going on?
Yeah. Exactly. So this is like you're kind of like gathering us all together to get these bullet point proposals together, and then you're the translator to the team. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we could do that after every session, I think that would be.
Yeah. Good. Look, apart from this, I'll take this to them. But if you want to give proposals, maybe just keep it a one-pager with like some dot point information and some images of what you think it should be, and I can just hand that off as a one-page proposal as a starting conversation point.
You want to do that, Will?
Yeah, we can do that.
We can do that in Notion, and then you guys, Anorak, Frankie, Rio. I guess he already left, but we'll tell Rio. Just give it to us, and we'll put it in Notion. We'll organize like a nice little like a list or something, and then we'll send it to Maddie, and we'll just do that.
I love that.
You know what I mean?
So you guys can create the documents and stuff, and I'll do the communicating in between.
That's cool.
Thanks. Because that's something we do all day. We're like in Notion all.
Yeah, that's natural. Like, we're literally just passing ideas back and forth all the time and shit.
Yeah, so now we can actually create like a funnel, directly to the team. I think that
100% agree, man. Okay. I was very happy with Augustine, and he just kind of felt like the fact that Toonpunk wasn't doing everything, and they brought on like a whole new team to dedicate to this sort of stuff. Seems like there's going to be some sort of line of communication a lot more.
All we've been asking for, man. Just bring someone in to help out.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, in the beginning, it just seemed like everybody was overworked. They had more things on their plate that they could handle. So,
but to be kind of fair, Decentraland were kind of born out of a hype market. Suddenly, they went from idea to catering to 50,000 members or 20, 30,000 members. CryptoVoxels didn't. Somnium Space didn't. These other projects didn't. They started small with their small Discord groups with their hardcore community members that helped chip in everywhere. But these guys suddenly have to figure out everything, right? So I think, yes, it has taken them time to catch up. They will catch up in terms of community engagement, but it's hard to take their resources away and fulfill it towards this sort of, there's this pretty big community that is watching and requires their attention. And they've probably got one of the most complicated tech digital metaverses to build, apart from just the SDK alone and everything, just because everything's so customizable, right? So it's a lot to ask, but it's getting there.
Totally.
I think I heard by Augustine or someone, maybe Sam, I can't remember, but I think VR is more on their radar now, because I think COVID acted more of a catalyst to show that, this is going to move in that direction. Everyone's asking for virtual spaces, and if you're not VR, you're going to miss a big part of that boat. So I think
that's true.
That
I think on their radar. Coming out this way was better than coming out with VR. Because could you imagine what it would have looked like if we also had VR during launch?
Or the bugs and integrating that with MetaMask.
Goodness, I can't even imagine.
You get motion
I literally
sickness
just can't even imagine how many things would it, So it's probably good that we went like this. Now VR, now can we get this under control with VR? Now can we, make more shit,
Yeah. But look, I think even if they can just dedicate on making Decentraland amazing with what it has now in terms of minus VR, and then integrate VR 3 to 6 months down the line, it's going to be amazing.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, definitely.
There's one more topic if you guys want to jump onto the last one.
Do it.
Companies, how do we go about onboarding them and reaching out? I think Anurag, did you ask that one?
Yeah. He's a natural at this, by the way. This is what he does. Explain to us, man. How does that work for you?
I think the biggest hurdle is just finding the right size company. It's finding the company that has enough traction to bring on new people, but doesn't have too much where they're going to have too high of expectations coming into it. And I think CoinFest was the absolute perfect fit for that, where they brought some of their own users over, but also it was a lot of committed Decentraland users that were participating. So they had their expectations set, and they were able to communicate with the new users as kind of what was standard in a way. But I just think that we kind of have to start marketing towards some companies to bring on and kind of build off the CoinFest stuff. Even if Decentraland maybe isn't perfect right now, I know there's still companies out there where like you can chat in Discord or Slack or somewhere and then just have like the image of an avatar in Decentraland. And I think for a company that has like 30 or so like employees or attendees, like I think that's perfect. And I think for us, it's just on us to like find these right fits for Decentraland right now. And then also just kind of help support them with their questions and everything going through the process. But it's just such a fine line right now of not overstepping, but also making sure that there's some sort of progress. And I felt that a lot with the tournament, like spamming channels and stuff, but I'm trying to like create awareness, So it's just finding the right companies and figuring out the best way to go about it, which everyone in here is smart enough to do that. It's just going to take the commitment and making sure, the biggest thing is making sure that people in here and people into Decentraland aren't messaging the same company and the same people twice. Because as soon as you double dip and they get the same message talking about joining in, it seems like spam. So we got to make sure that it's one rep per one company and that person is managing it correctly. Because if we have 2, 3, 4 people messaging the same artists, the same blockchain gaming people and everything, like they're going to get bogged down and they're not going to buy into it. Like it's going to seem like spam. So we got to make sure that everyone's coordinated, going after the types of people that they can manage and bringing some type of return in for the most minimal cost possible.
Yeah. 100% agree. that kind of goes in line with, like I said, like we're creating a funnel of communication between what we're doing and what we want to do and accomplish with the team. So I think that starts here. So that's a good.
So whenever I have any company that I am outreaching to or that have outreach to me, I straight away message Sam or Ari. And I'm like, so and so company has asked me to get involved. What can we do for them? This is what they want. Do you guys want to pursue this, or should I kind of figure out what they want? This happened like 5 or 10 times, whether it have been with CoinFest, CoinDesk, or whoever it has been. So I didn't know anyone else was interested in reaching out to companies like that. Anorak, I'm not sure if you're doing it or Will or you other guys, but if you are, then maybe we should communicate. If there is anything in the works amongst us, at least, just let us know that it's going on. And we got that group between us 6. You can just message it there if you need to.
I also think a big thing right now, even if it's not like a big conference like CoinFest is, where it's just like whoever wants to join in, joins in. I think it might go a long way to have a lot of these like indie dev games, like these indie games and all these different people that are developing these different little offshoot NFT type games to come in and almost have like a display show where they're sitting next to like some type of like podium or like some sort of like little ad board with their stuff behind them. And then they have like an audio channel set up in their Discord. So if you want to learn more about this project, go to this Discord. And I think if we bring people in and we pay for their mana fee and their registration stuff, and we get like 10 to 15 of these different little indie game and NFT projects in here, like you might really start getting some traction with some stuff, because a lot of these projects are stuff that have like maybe 75 people in their Discord. But out of those 75 people, like maybe 45 are like some really committed users. You know what I mean? For these small projects.
So are these blockchain games? Or
no, I'm just talking like there's these games I follow like Lucen and Skate and all this stuff where it's almost like the Infinity Engine type model to it. Like the mining game, the Infinity Engine game for the treasure hunt. And you might be able to bring some of that stuff over and integrate some of that stuff. But at the bare minimum, you're at least exposing these devs to Decentraland. Whether or not they come over immediately, they're at least made aware of its presence. And these are some like talented devs that are running their own projects. And if we give them like something like your VR mall or the conference center, like the conference center today was decked out in Ethermon stuff for the Guardians people today. Like it was awesome. Yeah, I thought it was great. Carl set up the audio stream in the Decentraland, or not in the Decentraland, in the Discord channel. Carl set up the audio stream. So in the background on the stage, the avatar who's speaking in the Discord is standing on the stage, and behind him is all of the PowerPoint slides.
Nice.
So he talks about the slide, it changes, he talks about the next slide. Granted, you have to do Decentraland and Discord, but you're still getting the information. Like there's still a use case there. Like
nice. So how did you feel in terms of being at a conference? Or
it was cool.
Did you feel good? It was cool.
No, yeah, I thought it was really cool. I thought it was cool to be able to hear someone's voice as you're standing there among all the avatars, and then you can pull up that voice channel and see everyone else that's in there. Like you can see, like, oh, okay, Black Star is standing 2 feet next to me, and he's in this chat channel.
It'd be cool if we can do things like point straight. So you can kind of point at the board.
Yeah, they have like the wave hand. Yeah, they have a wave hand function now. Yeah, so you can be called on if you got a question. I don't know. But it was cool. The audio added a whole different dimension to it. I will say that. It was cool.
Well, that's a good start. It's only going to get better because they said they're focused on enabling more conference features to Decentraland.
Yeah.
So, So anyway. Yeah. In terms of what was it? Outreaching or how to go about getting other companies. Is that all you wanted to talk about, Anorak, or did you want to speak about
I guess it was just
a lot of the stuff was
just and just make sure we're going up after the right crowd. Just make sure that we're not overstepping our bounds because we might be able to land like a company who's going to be able to attract a couple thousand users, but are we really ready for that? And
The
that's
problem
like,
is,
well, that's the exact thing I've been critical of the team about. It's not mass marketing, and maybe
well, I
it's
think
just
that's
not
why
the
they're
best
not
time.
doing it.
But
It
you
makes
can
sense.
still kind of pick your pieces here and there with some different projects. But
So CoinDesk is a perfect example that probably has the capability to bring in a shit ton of people. Sometimes we will get approached, or someone will ask the question. Maybe some company will say, "Hey, I want to go virtual. Is there any companies that you guys, my followers, can tell me about that can facilitate this?" If you mark the date, or you notice that they're having their thing in 1 or 2 months, I would say reach out to them and also make them aware of make Ari and stuff aware of this company, because the CoinDesk got involved. Obviously, I told Ari, and it would be silly for them in a month and a half. It's a month and a half time. So May 11th is the CoinDesk event. It would make sense for them to focus their energy in making that a very fluid event, right? Like, because it's a big deal. It's a big marketing opportunity. And if we don't kind of push them in that direction, what happens is they're going to go somewhere else, some crypto vault, some meme space, which I'm cool with. But at the end of the day, Decentraland was built for this. If you're not hitting it right now in the midst of COVID, everyone needs a virtual solution. Decentraland was made for this. Then I kind of feel like you're letting these opportunities pass you by at a very critical time where you can't afford to do it.
And part of me also thinks that, like, even if someone comes in and has a bad experience with it right now, maybe 2 years down the line when this shit is polished, they'll see it come up and they're like, "Oh man, Decentraland! Like, I haven't seen that since that one conference. Let me drop in. Oh, I still got my avatar name. Now it's free to drop in. Like, let me drop in and see what the updates are like." You know, there's still that side to it where there's some sort of brand awareness.
You're not going to go into Decentraland, even if you have the worst experience ever. Once Decentraland gets better, it's going to be on your radar. And you're going to start seeing videos and images of it on Twitter. That's natural. So you're going to be like, wait a second. Like, we can do all this now? I'm jumping back in.
Yeah.
So I think at the moment, no matter how hard you can go on the marketing, it's always going to be a good thing. Even though people might get shitty about it and stuff, people know about it. And even if 50% of the people enjoy their experience and the other 50 don't, that's still great. So I agree with you in the sense of actually adding value to people that come on board. Like, maybe 30 to 50 users is probably our max capacity. Like CoinFest are a good example of that. Maybe that's who we should aim for. But if any company comes on board that says, "Hey, we have an event in 2 months," it's a good idea to see. I don't know. Maybe you can commit to that or not.
So we'll take the responsibility of finding out, like, these larger companies that are trying to get together in the next couple of months, and then just bring them over to Decentraland. So that's like all of our responsibilities, really, because they don't know, like, how ready Decentraland is, and they're not going to know unless somebody tells them. They're not going to go investigate it themselves.
This is enough. Come on. This is enough.
All right.
How much fucking longer?
All right.
Dude, it's time to go party, bro.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be day drinking. It was like the first day. It was over 62 here, so.
That's all right.
All right, that's a good way to end it.
We needed that, actually. So
What time is it?
He said enough. Enough.
He's announced it, man. We're ending this right now.
Listen, he watched me play the Axie tournament for like 2 hours before I started this, so it's fair.
I'm scared for your life, man. He's gonna come and drag you out.
No, he's just being a drinking buddy is all. Got a fresh bottle of bourbon out there.
Yeah.
All right. On that,
any other topics? Are we good?
No, I think that's it, man.
Yeah, party.
Yeah, Maddie, I think we should definitely continue doing these for the community, whether it's myself or Will or Aaron or anybody that's involved with it, just so the ideas continue to get flowing and people understand what each other is talking about, what each other's goals may be, so that maybe some people on the same track might want to get together and be like, "All right, cool, let's work together," and maybe things can streamline that way,
Yeah. And also, if you're a new user out there, don't be afraid to contact any of us and ask any questions, no matter how dumb you think they are. All of us are here to help you. Doesn't matter what it's for.
Agreed.
100%.
And also some accountability. For example, like we put up our own roadmap. Like if DCL can take this feedback and they can update their own roadmap for some of our suggestions, I mean that would go a long way.
Yeah.
I agree, guys. I'm trying to just make things happen. I know we're trying to figure out processes and stuff to make things streamlined. They'll come in time, but I think as long as we're just having these at the start, and in time it's going to get better. I'll start reaching out to the wider community, getting them on board as well. But right now, let's just keep it. Also, if you want to put it out there and get more people on board, that's great. But would you guys be cool doing this as a weekly thing, or?
I'm here whenever you want, man.
Yeah, we can do it.
Sam.
Yeah. Or if we'll kind of schedule it as a weekly thing. What about this time? Does this time, this day work for you guys?
It does.
It don't matter. No, I'm not doing anything.
But it looks like this. It looks like this time it probably works best with everyone, especially with London people, because it's midnight for them when they started.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So let's keep it this time every week, this date. If you want to do it any earlier, if there's any specific topic, like say we had a big event, we want to summon everyone together and have a chat, just throw it in that group.
Yeah, or get some questions that we can talk about beforehand from the community.
Yeah, exactly. Get some questions, and we'll make it happen.
Alrighty. Yeah, this is awesome. Appreciate you setting it up, Matty.
Yeah, appreciate it,
good,
man.
Boys.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
Y'all be safe out there, man. Wash your hands
Be
and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, take care, boys.
All right, we'll see you.